From Kathy Little.
Okay, meeting is called to order at 7:05. We have a number of people here. We have, first of all three selectmen are here. And the names, I'm just going to ask you to do it loudly, if you wouldn't mind, starting over here. The names of the people besides Val. Hi, Val.
Hi there.
The names of the people who are here.
Felix Giordano.
Felix Giordano.
Tom Martin.
Say your last name again.
Martin.
Tom Martin. Good to see you again.
Rob Chernock.
Rob Chernak.
John Kopak.
John Kopak.
Rick Eddy.
Rick Eddy. And
Bruce DePercio.
Bruce DePercio.
And Keith Lipker.
And Keith Lipker, who is chair of the Transfer Station Committee. Okay. Can everybody see?
Yep.
You may not be able to see everybody that's in the meeting, but whatever. So hear from public. I believe someone wanted to speak from the public. Want to go ahead?
Sure. Just been in town for a while now, and I'm, see a lot of things come and go, and I don't see follow up on a lot of things. So I'm just going to throw some questions out there, and maybe at some point some information will come out. I imagine if I have some of these questions, other people do too. So
Okay.
I figure we'll have them here and
All right.
see what happens. I'm curious when the numbers came in for the reval, since we got the mailing immediately after the election. Seems like something that if we knew ahead of time, that would have been a good thing to have candidates answer some
Actually,
questions.
that doesn't work that way at all. It has nothing to do with timing for the election. Reval is done, and you can ask the assessor. Okay, reval is done at a particular point in time. Okay, it has no bearing on any election. It never has. The other thing I think that people should know is that you saw numbers for the reval, but you don't have the numbers for the projected budget to look at. We anticipate, in general, you can ask Christina Davis, that you will find that our mill rate will, I almost don't want to say go down. So what people reacted to, and I saw some of the reactions, was that they went, oh my God, my property value went way up. And so I know it's difficult for folks, but you have to be a little patient while we get the rest of the budget information together. We don't have the grand list together. We don't have a number of things together yet because it's not the timing for it yet.
The last time we had a reval, we punted on lowering the rate to a degree.
Okay.
In order to increase funding in the town for adding positions and stuff like that. If we had an idea that the trend was going to be for higher property values from a reval, it would have been nice to hear from candidates for first selectmen and selectmen what thoughts they had regarding budgeting.
Okay. I don't believe that Bill Folletti, Roger Phillips, or I know I didn't know what the reval was going to be. I had to ask my husband. I saw what everybody was doing. I went home and asked my husband. I said, what did our property value go up? He said, as expected, about 40%. And he understands the process. Again, we're pretty focused on other things. We're not looking at what reval is.
Well, the citizens in the town are pretty focused on their budgets.
They should be.
Right.
So I would point out, and I did put it out on Facebook, that no one from town came to the meeting the Board of Finance held. That was advertised in advance. It was a meeting to go through the projections for the budget. You can go out to the town website and you can find the presentation that was done, that Christina Davis did a fine job putting it together, and get a better sense of the factors that we see coming into our next budget. Okay, doesn't look as bad as what we had. We'll see once the dust clears.
I'm curious if Ashford sent or signed a letter to the governor in opposition of the state takeover for local planning and zoning.
You're asking if this office did, if our selectmen did?
Yes.
No, Bill Folletti was going to write that letter. I asked him to write the letter.
Well, I'm curious how many other towns in the quiet corner in Alaska Green Valley signed on to something opposing that. I'm curious what our plans are now that he has signed.
All right, so let me do it in kind of layman's terms, because when it comes to something that's a planning and zoning issue, I'm not the expert, but I did look at what the final iteration of that was. And it looks like they took out the most onerous of things out of it. So CCM, the Connecticut Council of Municipalities, and COST, the Council of Small Towns, are our vehicles. Okay, we're part of that. And they approved it. And they put out a summary. And what I can do is I can provide the information that's provided by them to all of you. I can attach it to the minutes if you'd like, just so you have that information. That doesn't mean I agree with what was done, but it does show that what the original intent, what the original plan was, has changed pretty dramatically. Now it is regionally based. It's supposed to be, if I understand correctly, based upon, call it work centers. We're not a work center. We're not a place that has industry, okay? And so the affordable housing, if I understand correctly, is more likely to be put in areas where you need workers to come in and have someplace to live.
Connecticut is not governed regionally.
I understand that, but that is what was put forth. It's a regional solution.
Yes, and are we and other towns going to oppose that from a legal standpoint, since we are not a regional state?
So have you contacted your senator? Have you contacted your representative?
I never get calls back. That's been the history when I've contacted state
So
officials.
I do call back and I will give you the information that I got. Okay. Another question, or you want to say more about that?
We added the booth and another person at the transfer station, and the idea at the time was that that investment was going to save us in lowering the tipping fees from kicking out people that were not authorized to use our transfer station. I'm curious what the numbers show. Did we save money? And how come every time I go to the transfer station, there's no one in that booth?
Well, your timing may be different. Someone isn't required in the booth all the time because the guys up top are also checking stickers. So some of the changes that have been made. We issued the new stickers. It was late, but we issued new stickers. And as part of it, we made sure that stickers were issued to cars that are registered in this town or are owned by someone who lives in this town or owns property in this town. And it's by the vehicle. It's not, you don't get 3 stickers because you say you have 3 cars or 3 vehicles. It's you got to bring your car there or your vehicle there. And what we have found, and you can ask the guys who work at the transfer station, is the big loads that were coming in all the time. We've had a drop in the big loads coming in. These are people who are, I can't point to a particular group, but let's just say they're ones that are dismantling houses and cleaning out houses and that kind of thing. And so our transfer station committee, and Keith will give an update at that point in the meeting, our transfer station committee has been looking at how do we further limit loads that are that big? Because that is what we're paying for. So also with the person who works in the booth, that person also has to go and do cleanup and mowing and whatever around the facility. He's one of the ones that does that. And also work with the put and take.
So no numbers. So no.
Well, I
numbers.
don't have numbers to give you right now. I don't
I don't
mind
need them
us
right
giving
now.
you numbers. That's not a
I don't
problem.
expect you to have them off the top of your
But
head.
what I
like to see some
would like
numbers.
is we put the new transfer station stickers in place in October. I think the first week of October. And what we want is to see, again, I'm hearing the big loads aren't coming in. So I want to see what the difference is at that point. Before, they were still coming in. We've also made it very clear to our workers that if you don't have a sticker, you ain't coming in. And please know that before we had people making fake stickers. We had people that were from other towns that had stickers because they actually got 2 stickers and they gave it to their buddy, or they didn't put it on their vehicle and they passed it around. We also have had some people who do house clean outs and whatever, or are doing, what is it when you, demolition. May have a business in town or live in town and may be doing that demolition someplace else. So we're also looking at how big a load are we going to allow to come in and how frequently by the same individual or same company.
Are you going to limit that to residents as well for their
I
own
can't
prop-
hear.
Are you going to limit that for residents to their own property?
I think the thing that would happen is well, first of all, if you're a resident, you get a sticker. Okay. But
You're talking about load size. So when I
No.
bought my house, it was full of garbage and I had to take several big loads. Are you talking
Under-
about?
understood. So if you're doing dismantling, if you're going to do a project where you're taking down your deck or part of your house, you're going to need to get a permit. Incredibly enough, people don't realize that, but you need to get a permit. When you get a permit, it may be that you will be issued a temporary pass, if you will, for the period of time that you'll be doing that. We're just looking at trying to avoid having people who are doing, work in other towns and bringing their refuse here. People that live here, I'm going to let you speak to it later on, if you will, as to what's been discussed with the transfer station committee, but we'll come to that when he speaks, because he's going to give us a bit of an update. They haven't finished everything that they're looking at. They're trying to pull it together to bring it to the selectmen so that the selectmen can look at some changes potentially in rules and when they should be implemented and vote on it.
Can I just interject? I understand what the gentleman's saying here. My own accord, when I had a building, my garage was built, I rented a big dumpster. And it was
Good
hauled-
citizen.
And it was hauled out because I know that all the scrap and everything, but I can understand where he's coming from.
Me
You might
too.
have a individual doing work in this town, construction, so on and so forth, and they're dumping all that stuff.
We want to know who they are.
Well, wouldn't that go along, just out of curiosity, if you put out a building permit to somebody, would you be able to monitor that building permit to see what's being done there?
Yes, because you know who gets the building permit or the copy of it? The transfer station.
Oh, okay.
They're
I
supposed to
mean, so
have,
that would
they're
help us.
supposed,
That-
they're supposed to
No.
have,
We don't have those. We're not receiving those.
Oh,
but that's what Matt and company have talked about is over in Willington. They do
Yeah.
have them. And so that's one of the things we're looking at is Willington applies that. They have them right up there where the guy could see them that's working the transfer station.
and just as a caveat, this isn't the first time this has happened, Catherine. This is going back years, past administrations. Why wasn't it implemented back then as far as
I don't know.
Right.
I suspect it might be BC before Catherine. I don't know, okay? So
And
what
also,
we're
I
trying to
understand our
do,
dumpsters have gone smaller as far as quantity, and we're doing more loads going out, if I understood that from way back when, but. You know, if people work together, I think that would help us.
Well,
And
I think
it
it
has
would-
to be monitored much close. I mean, you have 2 or 3 men up there working. I know Gary and the other people, but their hands are full too, trying to monitor this, and somebody could slide in and do
so
their
it's
thing.
Gary, it's Tony, and it's Hadley that are all telling me the same thing. We have less of those big loads coming in since we put out the new stickers because we were more stringent in how we're doing the stickers. That doesn't mean it's going to be perfect.
Right.
If you know of places that are violating it, for example, there was one place where they were cleaning out a house and it was I don't know, some crew came in to do it. I went to where that house was to tell them, you can't dump your stuff in our transfer station. Okay, because I found out that they were not from town and just doing it. So we're working through this as best we can. Believe me, when we went to do the transfer station stickers, we went, how do we make sure that it is very specific as to who's getting them? And I've got people, Chris has too. I had someone who was there, big truck. He needed one because he needed a transfer. This is the weekend we were handing him out. He needed a transfer station sticker. He was the brother-in-law of someone who lived in town who couldn't get their trash there, but he could not tell me where his brother lived. So he didn't get one. Actually, what I told him was come down to the selectman's office because I figured, we got a line going and whatever. Never came. So it's not like we're not asking the questions and trying to curtail this. We may be doing more than I believe we were doing before. And the guys who work down at the transfer station are on notice. And they have been looking at stickers. So, and by the way, if you see a sticker on a car that's from out of state, they may have just moved here. We had a situation where one of our residents accosted someone who had a car with a Massachusetts plate and didn't have a sticker on their car. And the person, it was really accosted, person pulled the sticker out of their glove box to show it to them. And had their registration, where their names. And the fact they lived here.
Box, it belongs on the windshield, whether it's Mass or not.
So everybody who gets a sticker is checked as to whether they live here, whether they own property here, and if they don't live here, if they own property here, and if they're a business. And I also had, certainly even that first weekend, people saying, well, I drive my company truck as my primary vehicle, and I don't want to put the sticker on it. Okay, they were marked down, and a warning was given to Hadley we're going to watch this one and see what's really happening. It's kind of hard. The person lives here, and they're saying they drive their company truck, and they can't put the sticker on the truck. So what we're trying to do is insist that their stickers are on the vehicles so they don't get passed around.
So are you suggesting that a resident house that gets cleaned out, if they have to hire someone to do it, if they're not able, that trash can't go to the transfer station?
I'm not saying that. What we will do is we'll talk with, when we get to it on our agenda, Keith can talk to you about what's been being discussed with the transfer station committee, because they're the ones who are looking at how do we manage this well? Okay, what kinds of changes do we need to make? And some of those changes we would have to, some of those changes might require an ordinance change. So it's a little more complicated than anybody would like it to be, but I think we have a really good transfer station committee working together. And I'm sure Keith can attest to that. And Chris is involved with that as well. And she does keep track of what our loads are. Normally, I don't speak
That was gonna be
during
my
this.
next question.
No, that's okay. The reason I'm doing that is so that I can at least provide you with some information. Okay, as to what we really are doing. Or I could just sit here, write down your questions, and then, I don't know, get back to one of you. Okay, but if you'd like, at least hearing what we are doing, then I'll continue.
I think
More questions?
interacting is good, yeah, this gets the information out, we're hearing it firsthand, which I appreciate.
And this is a sincere effort. We're not doing something shady. There's nothing like that at all. This is, for me, I'm sick of people being able to come in there with, certainly before, sick of them being able to get in there and dump their crap in our transfer station. And for years I heard, well, if we don't let them do it there, then they're going to dump it on the side of the road. Well, I think you even out where near you live at one point in time, a while back, they were dumping on that little road he goes through. I remember. And I sound, believe me, when it comes to this, I sound like a real stickler. I was looking at how many people in town are going to be upset because they're actually getting challenged as to whether or not they could get a sticker.
Those were people that lived in town, who hired people from in town who didn't want to drive it all the way to the transfer station and dumped it on my road. So that's not even,
Lazy.
that has nothing even to do with.
I'm not thinking
with the
about that. I
stickers
was
and all
going
that
back to the
stuff.
rest. I was going back to the rest.
I know.
Okay, more questions, please. Yes,
I have a
Felix.
question. Question I have is if we wanted to discuss with the town, future planning, bringing business to the town, is our town, our future, the right body to discuss that with?
That's a good body. We have, yes, they're a good body. Economic development is a good body. They don't have as many people volunteering for economic development or even getting involved in our town, our future, as they should have. They need help. You can't expect, these are volunteers. You can't expect them to have all the answers. So anybody, we're looking for volunteers for a lot of things, but that would be great. We want new ideas, fresh ideas. I'll be going to a CCM conference tomorrow. One of them is about 3 towns that created economic development in their town in an unusual fashion. I want to find out what that is. How do they manage it? We have a situation where we don't have a town center, and it's logistically, I'm going to say, impossible to have a town center. We're just like a pass through.
It's not even safe to cross 44. If you're going from the library to the senior center.
So we have 3 sets of signs that are for that crosswalk. 3 on either side. The state just came in and updated it, I'd say within the last month. So yes. And the other thing too is in December, we had American Rescue Plan funds that we needed to get allocated by December 31st, 2024, or we would lose the money. We have to actually spend that money by the end of 2026, this year. So what we had was, I had been approached by a company who has since been working in all parts of the state, including Washington, Connecticut. And we had a town meeting about putting in a speed control zone. Anybody remember that? It was December of last year. Okay. I got my rear end handed to me. I will say that what was being proposed was done in Washington, Connecticut. They brought in a lot of revenue and caught a lot of speeders. Most of our speeders here in town are not from town. Yet the people who are in town, well, maybe. One response I got that was disconcerting for me is, this is something where you would know, the people in town would know in advance that this zone was going to be set up. I wanted to do it first at the school, then out here, then out on town. Oh, I forgot the name of the road.
Turnpike?
No.
Turnpike? No.
Turnpike. because the people are complaining about they can't even walk on the side of the road. Anyway, that was the original thought. But what we needed to do was get one, and it was going to cost $25,000 in ARPA funds. And it was shot down. Some people voted for it, but a lot of hands were there. The meeting was a little bit stacked. People overreacting in a sense, at least from my opinion. So this speed control zone would have flashing lights saying you are now entering a speed control zone. It would be a camera going one way, only catching them going one way initially. And you'd have to have an ordinance that said you cannot speed in the town of Ashford on any road in our town over 10 miles over the speed limit. Any road, state, doesn't matter. So you'd have that. For the first month, people would be issued warnings. And then after that, they'd be issued it was a $50 fine with a $15 fee that would go to the third-party group that handles all of this. And what it would do, the camera would do, is capture the license plate of the vehicle that was speeding. That's it. It wouldn't be reported to your insurance company. It wouldn't be reported to the police. It would be, you are in violation of our ordinance. Therefore, you will pay a fine. Okay, and then the second time, you'd have a $75 fine and a $15 fee. So it's $90. So someone sat, there were different people there. One sat in the front row and said, speeding isn't the problem, it's driver error. Well, the state put this program in place because of speed causing accidents. The other part of it was one person said, well, that means if my husband, because the ticket would go to the person the vehicle's registered to. So if my husband was driving the car and it was registered to me, I would get the ticket. And so my response was, if my grandson was driving my car and he got a ticket after all these warnings, he got a ticket there, there'd be two parts to the conversation. One is he'd pay the ticket. Two, he might not ever drive my car again.
I remember that meeting, and it was who's going to pay the fine for the vehicle going through. Who was driving
the ticket would be issued to the person,
right,
but it wouldn't go to your insurance company.
Right.
Wouldn't go to your
But I remember
police.
we also spoke about who was going to collect the money.
The third party.
And chase it down.
Yes, third
Right.
party, and there would be an appeal process.
Right.
And we would have actually people here in town participating, being part of that appeal process. So when we talk about speeders, and mind you, I think I even mentioned during that meeting, I have people come in here in tears, especially trying to cross Route 44 in tears saying, why haven't you done anything? So we've got speed signs, we've got whatever, but nobody wants to put up, or let's just say there aren't enough people that are willing to put up a speed control zone. By the way, from my perspective, it would be mostly people passing through here.
Well, speeding is one issue, but 74 and 44, that intersection needs a whole.
We
I mean,
continue to
stoplight.
try and get a true stoplight there.
Yeah.
We even had a person who works here who was in a terrible accident there. So there's a lot of motivation. We cannot get the state yet to do that. There isn't enough accidents there to warrant it, believe it or not. It's not even put down as a dangerous intersection. You know what is considered dangerous? Route 44 in Pumpkin Hill.
It's a blind corner.
They looked at that one and said that's a dangerous one.
Rather than a traffic light, why can't they make a double lane heading west on 44 so that you have one lane dedicated to just turning onto 74 and one going straight?
That's
then coming
interesting.
up the
Would we
hill,
have to,
there's-
would the road have to be widened? There's state
Oh,
roads.
absolutely.
Yeah, it would have to be widened. I don't know if it's private property or town property. or
Well, the
whatever.
properties on the sides are, yeah.
Because
That's something I can ask about.
I'll just tell you, there's so many people who cannot tell whether a car is going to turn onto 74. So they kind of like make a guess.
I
And
agree.
it's kind of like a demolition dirt, or it could turn into a demolition derby out there.
I understand.
It's
Somebody's
also
gonna
the
get killed
drivers have
someday.
become a lot worse nowadays. You stop at a red light now and your light turns green, I wait 15 seconds before I go because everybody's running red lights now.
That's the other thing, by the way, that speed control zone thing, that's also one for monitoring anybody who runs a red light. Because we also talk about it down here at the intersection of Route 89 and 44, right down here, corner. That one makes me nervous as well. So, and we have tried to get that changed in another fashion, but I will talk with them about maybe making the way that entrance and egress are wider and more one direction or whatever.
Because I think if you put a traffic light, it's not going to resolve part of the problem because the cars come down that hill so fast. And I don't know how much of a
I'm talking
heads
about
up they'll
are you-
have that it's a red light.
Felix, are you talking about the intersection of 74 and 44?
Yes,
They come down the hill fast?
coming
Yeah,
down
they
the
do,
hill.
when they're going down to 74. He's saying, I
74.
believe he's saying, he wants to take and make 2 lanes coming down that hill.
Yeah.
And one of the lanes be a turn lane into 74.
'Cause if you have a car doing 50 coming down that hill and then the light turns yellow, I don't think they're gonna have enough time to stop.
Right.
Unless they slam on.
Well,
their
look at
brakes.
us down here. We had a fatality and had another accident, I'd say within the last 3 or 4 months.
So I don't
Right
think a
here in
light's
front of
a
the
solution.
gas station.
I don't think a light's a solution. I think it's, and that having 2 lanes going down the hill,
It would
2
it would
lanes
take
coming up.
us, that's probably state property anyway, it's probably a right of way for the road. Yeah, probably move over easily 1 lane right there.
Yeah, I'm not sure how, you need a certain
You
amount
need a
of
survey.
uh,
They have a right of way.
distance for a lane, if
You
you
can
will.
throw that out there, but you probably won't see it for 5 or 10 years.
Right.
It took fatalities up on North Road and 44 to, when we had fatalities there, to finally have them shave that hump down, and it's still very bad. North Road and 44, so.
All right, so this is
Yep.
one that needs help from our legislators, our representatives. So I can do a concerted reach out to them to
If you
say, this
remember,
is,
I
you know, it is a
contacted-
concern, it's been a concern, it's a concern of mine as well.
If you remember, I contacted Jeff and Mr. Boyd. And you and Bill and
Yeah, and I contacted one of them to see if I could get help with some of these things, and rather than a phone number for me to personally talk with, to go, hey, for example, someone has, more than one person has requested to know trucks through on a certain road. And I can't just put a no trucks through on a road. I have to go as I'm the local traffic authority. I've got to go through the state. Well, there is no form for that. So just trying to get a person to have a conversation with, to go, hey, I couldn't find the form, how do I do this kind of thing has been awkward. So my latest thing is to reach out to T2 over at Yukon, because that's also one with you can get the flashing lights. We've already gotten free. We've got 4 of them now. When I was first selectman before, we got 2, and then Casey went out and he got 2 more of the lines that say, the signs that say, that are solar powered, that say, here, this is what your speed is, this is what the speed limit is, and this is what your speed is, which is supposed to be a deterrent. Okay, and in some cases it is. It reminds me, I have a lead foot. I make no balls about it. I do.
There's one up on Turnpike, isn't there? Yeah.
Yes, there's one on Turnpike. And that's been moved a few times because somebody on Turnpike didn't like where it was. Okay, we moved it and then it didn't get enough sun. And then we moved it again, and I think he's okay where it is. But also wants no trucks through there. And I don't blame him. You can't walk your dog on the side of the road. Or your kid. All right, so those were some of the things. And personally, I'm kind of glad to have people here to say something. Other questions? Other concerns?
I got one. and then
Sure.
I'm gonna take off.
I can barely hear you.
I'm just gonna say one and then I'm gonna take off. I was just wondering, how can I interact with the transfer committee or get on the transfer committee for the transfer station? Is there a way can you like email me when you're gonna have a meeting of that so I can?
We allow people to sit in our committee meetings, right, Keith?
I sat on.
So Keith is the chair of that committee. Okay, I'm not on it. Okay, the selectmen formed it. We updated it, and Keith was good enough to continue to volunteer and also to take the chairmanship. Okay, so we have
So I can be in touch with
we
them.
have Casey's on that committee. Matt Carosi's on that committee. He works in Wellington at their transfer station, so we've got some fresh ideas. Okay, and he lives in town, so he cares about what's going on. And so somebody's sitting in, just understand they're the official people in the transportation committee.
If I may add, is that because there was, people are starting to hear that things are going on at the transfer station. So, when we do have a meeting, and we're not going to meet again until January, we do publish the agenda on the town website. And I had added a line here from the public.
Wonderful.
And Tom, caught that and showed up. And, and actually we, extended the period for which he could participate because
Fantastic.
we're looking to have, we need ideas. We need people to participate. And then we know that there's a lot of rumors floating around. I've heard that, oh, you're going to start charging, which, that is not on our agenda at all. But, we would welcome people to attend. Just check the town website. We meet on Wednesdays. We'll probably have one early in January, but Wednesdays at 4, because that works for both Matt and Casey. And of course, Christine's on the committee as well. So, keep you posted and, we can even, certainly if you want, I can give everybody a heads. If you want to be notified ahead of time, just, write down your name or your email address. Because, we're not meeting in secret.
The other thing too is, I know you asked about transfer station numbers, it wouldn't hurt if you actually sat in on some of those meetings, maybe, to learn more about what's going on with that. I can provide a certain amount of information, but I'm not the expert and I don't profess to be. We have a transfer station committee that's pretty familiar with how we
Keep a running
operate.
spreadsheet
Yeah,
comparing 3 years of totals of tonnage.
so also, I'll just, as a small aside, when we talk about what we call the blue box down at the transfer station, I think when it was conceived, nobody thought through that you'd have a person sitting in that box for 8 hours straight. A person sitting there 8 hours straight. It would have been better had it been designed or set up that you had a couple people rotating in and out during the day. I can't sit for and I realize we don't have slave labor here. We have real people. Okay. And it would have been better to, even if it was 4 hours and 4 hours. But 8 hours is extreme.
Even 2 hours and rotate 2 guys.
That's what I would have done, is every 2 hours.
Still do it.
Well, you can
Still do it. Rotate your stuff.
Understood, except that those are union employees and their job descriptions do not cover sitting in that box. Only one does. So we're looking at, looking at that. The other thing is that the union contract is going to be renegotiated. I don't know that we're just going to extend it. It was a 3-year contract. And June 30th, we have to have another one in place or an extension of the existing one. So, from my perspective, doing some rewriting, we're already looking at some of the job descriptions to make them a better fit. These ones have been job descriptions for a long time. Times have changed and some things have evolved. So, and we,
I'm sure you have the power to change it.
I have to go through the union to do it. And it's not just your little local union here, it's at the state level. So be aware. I know there are some people some positions that I definitely want changed. And I got pushback on from that level, but now I have another plan. And, I'm not perfect, but we are honestly in there, and I've been here a while now, so I know a lot more than I used to. And I also know I don't know everything. So when it comes to ideas, okay, I love it when the complaints come with some kind of an idea like yours. Okay, it's kind of hard to just take the complaint and go, okay, well, we've tried this, we've tried this, we've tried this. Anybody got any new ideas? So I have set up for Wednesday nights from 4 to 6 here. Anybody can come in and talk to me about anything. You want to see a number on something? We'll get you the number. You want to find out a line item in the budget and what's been spent to date in it and what it's been spent on? I can give you that information. But people, we have very few people have come. People were concerned about peddlers, so I got a bunch of people that time. Some other people were concerned about something else going on in town, and but not a lot of participation from the town, even though it's offered. It's offered for you to participate with us. And like I said, when you're looking at thinking about the budget and everything, I have to give the Board of Finance credit. I got to give Christina Davis credit for writing up something that said, here's her projections. The woman is great with numbers. Great. And she did good projections last year and she held us fast. Okay. It hurt like crazy. Okay. When you hear your fire department, originally it was, went back to, they only wanted, we were supposed to have a 1% increase across the board. So for our fire department, that would have meant, losing people and safety issues, public safety issues. So it would have affected our responsiveness. So we made tough decisions. With the Parks and Recreation director, went from a full-time position with benefits to a part-time position, no benefits. Did we happen to be at a fairly good time because the Parks and Rec director was going to be retiring. We didn't know that at first, but that's how it worked out. And we brought in a part-time director who's doing a hell of a job. Okay, but that means that the Public Works is taking on more of the parks management. Okay, and me having to work in negotiations that would have been done down there for whether it's mowing or whatever. So, we're skinnying up wherever we can. We also have, just so you know, in our land use department, the only person who's an employee is our land use clerk.
Mhm.
All of the rest are part of regional solutions. Okay, where it's costing us less because you can't get, literally, you cannot get a zoning enforcement officer part-time as easily as you might think, or even an inland wetlands agent. Okay. And so we have used services from NECOG, Northeastern Council of Governments. We're using Tyche for our zoning enforcement. We are using Bolton's regional solution that Jim Rupert put together for our building official, and there's a rotating bunch of building officials. But Jim's overseeing them. Trying to think of who else we have. We have someone from Eastern Highlands who's one of their people. And I can't remember if we have somebody else. But, rather than paying employees and, insurance and all of that, we have elected to use consulting groups, which has saved us money. We also looked at trying to do that for a tax collector. And what did we find out? It would have cost us more. So, which, by the way, we have a new tax collector who will be starting tomorrow. Linda Gagney retired effective today. She'll still be here doing being some training wheels for a while, helping with the transition. So I hope you'll come in and thank her for all her efforts over these years.
That's a well-deserved retirement.
Yes, and I will tell you that we have such committed, from the public's end, maybe you don't see it, but we have some really committed people here. Linda stayed on for going on a year while we were trying to find somebody. At a minimum, 8 months. But, the plan was for her to retire much earlier. And she wants to make sure, and she has been a big part of it, making sure that we have a really good tax collector and that the transition is smooth for the town. And so I hope you'll like him. He's a very nice man and very competent, and he's fully certified. Where we had people applying for the job that are claims adjusters. Think about having a claims adjuster from an insurance company as your tax collector. There are certifications you have to have. You've got to be qualified. So it's been an experience, quite an experience. Okay, more questions?
I have-
Yes.
In regard to your emergency management operator, Miss Why Not, if I saw it?
Yeah.
She has a very good resume from what I saw, but
How did you get her resume?
I looked online, I looked her up personally, and her credentials. All you gotta do is Google.
You meant you have a resume, or you just saw who
her-
she is?
Her type, her criteria.
Okay.
And I'm curious, was there a closing date? Because I forwarded a resume.
No, it had already been decided, but when I got the resume. The other thing too is we had
Is it-
resumes from someone who worked in the fire department, I think. So, emergency management director, someone who works in the fire department, and by the way, this is the only position that is hired by the first selectman. Nobody else is involved. The rest of the board of selectmen not involved.
Can I ask why?
That's how it was set up. I don't know. All I know is that is true. And so for the last, certainly when I was first selectman, before I was looking for someone, Michael Gardner and Tom
Tommy
Borgman
Yeah.
have been fantastic.
I worked with them, yeah.
They've been fantastic, and they've worked really well with me. They work really well with Bill. They've been here forever, so they know all the ins and outs. They're, quite adept, but they'd like to retire.
Oh, I realize that.
So when it comes to having someone here, and one this came up before, it came up a couple of years ago, in terms of having someone who works in the fire department and you have an emergency in the town, I can't have that person as my emergency management director. They're working for the fire department. They're going to be deployed wherever's needed. So think about some of the emergencies. Something blows up.
I disagree with that statement due to the fact that, yes, we're limited. The fire department is limited. But if you have an individual that knows most of and can deal with most of the emergency situations versus a novice coming in, from what I understand, not having any experience, I think an individual can be placed downstairs to run the emergency. Well,
So
go ahead.
when you have this emergency, the role of the emergency management director
Mhm.
is to gather information and to communicate.
Right.
It is not to go be an EMT.
Right.
It's not to go and be a fireman. Okay, that's not needed. What is needed is someone who can coordinate, who can document. Our documents in terms of emergency management are so out of date.
Okay,
Okay, they need to be able to gather the resources. They need to be able to communicate with everybody. They need to communicate with me because guess what? I communicate out to the public. This person has to put the information into the state systems
right.
and has to work with each of the departments.
Mhm.
So, they don't need to be an EMT. They don't need to be someone who's been in the fire department. And I realize that in the past, or they don't need to have been someone who worked in public works in order to be able to do the job that they have to do.
Once again, I gotta disagree.
As
with
long
that.
as they go through the training. And by the way, Michael,
Training's training, but experience, and I know Mike and Tom are gonna back up and help her.
nobody else applied within the time period, and the time period was 3.5 years. Because we tried before.
When does that position come up again?
Why would it come up again?
She's gonna be in there for life?
How
When does
long,
that
how
position
long
open
were
up?
Michael and Tom in there? Michael's done it for many years.
Oh, I really.
As long as the person is competent and can do a good job. And if I understand correctly, we have not had in some cases, we haven't had the best in there in past history.
Mhm.
Okay.
I-
Give this
I agree.
person who is actually quite talented, give this person a shot. Don't do it like the old boys. Okay, look at it from a communication perspective and a coordination perspective, because that's what that person does. I hate to sound so definite, it's just, that is what that person does. I don't need them pumping somebody's chest. I need them to be able,
We're not
no,
saying that.
no,
I'm not saying
but-
that.
but the people that, I'm not gonna get into which
Okay.
resumes I saw. Okay, but when we talk about somebody who already has a role in the fire department and we have a big emergency, that person's gonna be working for the fire department.
Okay.
I would expect that, to be all hands on deck. So I'm hoping that whoever is interacting with our new EMD, once she gets through her training, okay, because she's not doing it yet. She is going through the training she needs to have. She's working with Michael and with Tom. They're her training wheels until she, believe me, I'm not a person that's just gonna put somebody in that can't do the job. It's more along the lines of, we found someone who is interested in doing the job, who has transferable skills, who was right in there, who actually went, checked out all the training and all of that before that person ever walked in the room for an interview. That is not what other people did. Okay, I had someone from East Windsor who was, unfortunately, was foreign, that I could not understand, saying he wanted to be our EMD. And it was like, I don't think so. First of all, you live too far away. You're never going to get here in a big snowstorm. And second of all, if I can't understand you, and I do work with people that have those dialects, or I have worked with them for many years, nobody here is going to understand them. Kristen is a very good communicator. She is smart, and she knows how to coordinate and document. And that's what I need. So I hope that everybody who has to interact with her will recognize that and treat her respectfully.
They have to,
She's-
it's protecting
she's-
the town, for sure.
She is very much looking forward to working with you guys. Okay, and doing a good job for our town. And she lives in town.
Yeah.
Which is good. And by the way, I didn't know her before. No, what we did was we looked at the resumes. And we interviewed. Yes,
Do you still have a town liaison with Eversource?
yes,
Do you
I
need
do.
any additional help? Because I did that for 36 years.
I don't think so. I work with the liaison, and Kristen and or Michael will be working with the liaison.
So I'd be willing to volunteer for when you have major power outages, getting on the phone, talking with people.
Actually, we, believe it or not, Felix, we already have a system, and I don't know how many of you go on Facebook or on the town website when we have outages or whatever. But what happens is I work with the liaison, and I've did it before, and I do it now. I trained them for what I needed. And originally, when I started working with them a couple of years ago, young people, which now I'm accustomed to working with young people, thank God. What I got was, the first thing I got was a map of the state. I said, I don't care what's going on with the rest of the state. I care what's going on in Ashford and the streets and right around us where the power sources are. I've got a whole map, a technical map of where everything is. And I want to know how many outages we have that have been reported on a particular street in town. What teams have been sent out there, because there's multiple teams that go, and what's the ETA for the power to come out. So what I do is believe me, I don't rest during these storms. I go out on Facebook. First of all, I put something out on the town website that says, here's our current status as of a particular time. Then I put a link to that on Ashford Community Connections on the Town of Ashford Facebook page, so that if anybody clicks on that link, they'll see the current status of our roads, where the wires are down, where something's flooded, where the power outages are, how many on a street or whatever that I can get information about, which is not that hard to do. And then over time, what I do is I update the one that's on the town website. And so whenever anybody clicks on the link that they had originally, they're going to see the latest version of what's going on. Nobody ever did that before.
Map.
Sorry?
Eversource has that map that you can go to, and it does pinpoint in town where the power outages are and how many are affected by it. It's pretty accurate.
Not as accurate as telling me exactly what addresses they are.
Right, if somebody
I
comes
get
to you
that.
and says, yeah,
Okay, I get that.
yeah.
And I also, and I'm working as a liaison, is if someone, good example, power outage for the better part of 4 days at one point, a couple of years ago, when we had the flooding, I believe. Someone who was on dialysis at home was hooked up to a generator in a trailer to do his dialysis on Nath Road, I think, Nath, one of the roads. And that one, they were saying they weren't going to be able to get their power restored for 3 days. And I was like, nope. I talked to them and they got it taken care of in a day. So over time, what I do is I cultivated a good relationship with these guys, and also help train them in what I felt our town really needs, which is not what's going on down the shore. It's not the grand map.
I guess so.
Okay, thank you.
All right, Tom, take care.
So thank you for your offer. Should we find that we need that, I will let you know, okay? Any other questions or concerns?
I just had a question. I
Yeah.
had sent you an email and haven't heard back.
From who?
I had sent you an email and hadn't heard back.
What was it about?
And well, I'm gonna go to the next Board of Ed meeting and discuss.
I think I
it with
said to you,
them.
you need to talk to the Board of Ed in my email.
Yeah, but I mean, do you think those are legitimate concerns that?
Remind me of what the
So-
concerns were, because
All
I get at least 10 of these. a
Yeah,
day.
what it is we have 9-to-1 student to teacher ratio at Ashford School, yet the math and reading proficiencies are below average for the state of Connecticut.
So this is the interesting part of town government that a lot of people don't understand. That's not a selectman issue.
Mm.
That is a Board of Ed issue. And they are knowledgeable. They can give you the answers, and they can take your concern and look again at whatever they're doing. And you may or may not have good information. It depends, because there's different sources for information. But those are the people you should talk with. And so I do encourage you to talk to the Board of Ed on anything that's education oriented, their budget for education, any of that. Okay. When it comes to some things here, public safety kind of things, you would call here. If you want information about the selectmen's budget, it would be here. If you need information about the capital improvement budget, it would be here because the first selectman chairs the capital improvement committee. We're going to start meeting and puts together that budget to present to the Board of Finance. So those kinds of things. If you have a concern about a person in town, you might call here, someone you think needs help. You would call our Youth Services and Social Services Director because that's what she does. If you have a concern about a senior in particular, you might call the Senior Center Director, depending. So we kind of have things, they're parsed out appropriately. Okay. More questions?
I don't want to overburden it. I was just,
Yep.
something solar the school solar panels down the road. Is there a leak at the school through the new roof perchance?
Talk to the director of the school. At different points in time, that when they put up the roof, there were leaks here, leaks there, that kind of thing.
Right.
They've been addressed. We had a 30-year edge-to-edge warranty with
Yeah.
Garland. It's a Garland roof.
That's what I heard, yeah.
Okay, we have, they have taken over, I'm gonna call it any maintenance or repair on the roof.
Okay.
And they, what I asked for from them, and I contacted the president of Garland
Okay.
and had him on the phone because I was not happy with the warranty. Okay, it was not clear as to, on the products, whatever, we got that straightened out.
Okay.
He even changed the start date of the warranty to move it so that we get extra time on our warranty. I was,
So it extended the warranty?
what happened was, when I originally got the warranty, I got the warranty before the roof had a CO. Since
Okay.
when? I had asked for a sample warranty before that and should have received it.
Right.
Didn't get it. So there was a whole lot of back and forth, back and forth, back and forth.
Sure.
So pulled them together, pulled the architect in, had a meeting, got all of that straightened out. What happened was also I had received a warranty that was dated, bear with me, March 17th, saying everything was done, but I didn't get it then. I received it in like end of June and had a March 17th date. To it, it was, and so they changed the date of the warranty. I can't remember if it was June or July. They changed it to, it extends it out. And also the maintenance book, maintenance plan for the roof and everything. There were questions about that. Took them through that in detail. Also, prior to that, worked with town council to get advice and specific things to ask and specific things to get. So, and I have to say, Chris Abacoff,
Oh, sure.
she's been involved in this and has been a great partner as we tried to work through this, because when we talk about the roof, we're not just talking about warranties, we're talking about bills, we're talking about
Absolutely.
all kinds of things. And I will tell you that some of the professionals that were involved in doing the roof, we had an architect, we got Garland, we got a general contractor, and we had an owner's rep. Guess what? They didn't like each other.
Right, they didn't talk,
No, it's worse than that. They hated each other.
really.
Yes, so poor Ashford got caught in the middle of all that, just like some other towns. And so that's why we had to have a come to Jesus meeting.
Right.
So,
My question is if there is a problem or was or still is, that will hold off on the project of putting the panels up on the new roof, I would assume.
so the way it works is, and with Garland, is that Garland will, the inspection of the roof and making sure the roof looks good before the solar company can make a hole in that roof.
Right.
They have to lay out exactly where they're going to do that, because the roof was designed to support solar. It was specifically designed for that, architected for that. So they have to lay that out
Mhm.
that has to be approved by Garland.
Okay.
Then after it's done, it gets checked by Garland because our warranty is sacred. We want to make sure we keep our warranty. We also want to have the same kind of a problem we had at the fire station roof where you had,
I know. Yeah.
whatever.
It's understandable. I was just curious that
No,
the project won't proceed until everything is
no,
approved and.
yeah. And we got that
Okay,
in right.
well, Thank you. I appreciate it.
No,
Thank you.
that was, that was a very challenging project because these people didn't get along with each other.
Yeah.
And I've handled projects pretty much all of my career.
Yeah.
So to have that true animosity between them is really
You
unfortunate.
can't expect quality work when there's
And,
that much.
and they're suing
animosity.
each other.
Yeah.
Okay,
The question is,
Yes, Bruce.
The solar panels are supposed to get X amount of solar panels, but now there's not three-phase going down to 89. Now there's less solar
you can
panels.
thank
What's the story?
Eversource. So I will tell you this. A few years ago, we went for a ZREC, okay, which is a discount thing through Eversource. And got its guarantees, particular rates, that kind of thing. And it goes for, I think, I can't remember if it was 20 years or 15 years, something like that. And so all of the delays, because they got that, then it was, oh, we got to put a roof on. So then you got to do the roof. So it eats into the time of that ZREC. When the owner's rep, I'm going to call the owner's rep, with the solar representative we had, filled out the forms and everything to get the ZRECs, because he's the one that did that for us. He put down that the size of the roof, the size of the solar system would be between, I can't remember, Chris, was it between 75 and 220 or 250? I think it was 250. So normally what happens when you're working with Eversource on this is you get your solar company you want to have come in, they put together the plan, and then you pull in Eversource and they review the plan and whatever. Well, we didn't do it like that. We actually ended up doing it smarter. What it happened was, do this. We had the solar representative put together an overarching plan, and also and put the RFP, request for proposal, with the things in it that we wanted. You know, some of the things are for something to be shown at the school in the lobby or whatever, so the kids can see what's going on, so they can learn about, you know, solar energy, et cetera, et cetera. You know, that's just one little thing, but there were a number of things that we wanted. And it's part of an education process that they have at the school too, which is kind of cool. So you did that, filled out that, this is after the fact, filled out that form before. So after we put the RFP together and we put the, it's called a power purchase agreement document that normally whoever you brought in for a solar installer would put that together, because we're basically, it's kind of like having a vending machine and we're purchasing soda cans out of it, but they've got the vending machine and they have to maintain. So we don't have to maintain. I can say that E.O. Smith put up solar on their roof and they bought it outright. You know, they put up all the money and it didn't work for a year. Then they had to do whatever they had to do. I don't know if they hired a group to work with them or whatever to help maintain it, but they actually purchased it, I think, outright. So in this particular case, because we were putting together the RFP, what's called PPA, and it was tailored to what we needed, before going out to, we went out to bid with the original one. But what we did was we also set up time with Eversource, and I used my liaison to get through the jungle to get that, because normally Eversource doesn't get involved till later. And as a result, we had 2 meetings. One, they brought in an account rep, and I don't like account reps. And it was kind of like, well, they weren't really, giving us a lot of information, but our solar rep filled out a 60-page thing with them, 60-question thing with them. So then we had another meeting. This time they brought in someone, and you had to appreciate it, because they're sitting there, and I've got my poor little liaison who's fantastic, and this guy and another guy that's their technical guy. And what I was told was, well, we can only deliver like 75 watts. And I went, what? And they said, well, that's all that's available on that road. And your fire department has the equivalent of what a house would use for your solar. So it's not, looking at a big system, which is what was put on the original request, whichever they had at Eversource. They just didn't talk to each other. So that meeting, what I was told was, in order to check this out, you need what's it called? When you do an investigation, okay? You need that. It's going to take 45 days. It's going to cost you $15,000. And believe it or not, this is what the person said. And you won't like the answer when you get it. And I said, so why are we going to spend the money? So what we found out was, not only could they not support the system that they'd already been told was what we were going to have, or at least given an inkling of it, we also were told, I said, when do you anticipate doing any upgrades along there? No. Nothing in the near future, nothing in the distant future. So at that point, we had to, in a sense, cut bait and go, okay, we need to go with a smaller system. There'll be less of a savings, but it's still considerable. And so we're at a point now where we're looking for who's going to step forward to be our work with our power purchase agreement, and what are they going to give for it? Give us. And if they aren't going to give us enough, we won't pursue it.
How much is enough? Can I ask questions?
Sure, we're really, I realize because I'm talking, we're off topic, but you're asking questions and I want to answer them.
How much is enough of a savings? So less.
I don't know yet.
considerable.
I
You don't know.
honestly
Okay.
don't know. I think at a minimum, it would be a third of, because it's a third of the size of the system. It'd be a third of what we thought we were going to achieve. However, working with our solar representative, there are options. We had one company, when we were talking about the big system, came back and said, well, your ZREC's going to run out a certain period of time, but we have a program that'll pick up after that and continue to give you good savings. Well, unfortunately, then we had to, cut back, and so it needed to be put out there again, and we're waiting to find out who we're going to have.
Has Eversource assigned a project manager to the plan?
I asked for the project manager, and they will have one when we go back to them.
I think
Right now,
that's
you know what I
see
told
things
him? I
move
told him?
forward.
I said, you know what? This whole town knows that this is going on, and we have something called the Ashford Citizen. And I put something out on page 3 every month. And what I'm going to put out on page 3 is Eversource could not support the system that we wanted. And my liaison called me. I also asked to talk to somebody higher up. My liaison called me and she said, could you share what you're going to put in the Citizen? And I said, sure. And that's exactly what I put in the Citizen. So they were informed, but they're a big company, they're expensive. All of you are feeling it. Okay. For me, the work that we all put into this and money spent to get it to the point where we are is kind of like, what, you guys aren't paying attention? It wasn't like we didn't try. So I don't know if any of you have ever worked with people that, or or companies that you thought were going to deliver something, you thought that they had the same standards that you might, and then found out that they didn't work quite like that. So
That's almost every Eversource subcontractor.
there you go.
Well, with the
So, but
solar
our
pan-
liaison is, I actually had a bet with our solar representative. He said, you're never going to get a meeting with them. And all I did was go through the representative, who is a young thing, and managed to get their meeting together, 2 meetings.
Risk versus rewards, do you think the solar will pay off down the road, or is it?
No, I do believe it will, but it's a matter of, our ZREC has expired.
Yeah.
Okay, it's a matter of what power purchase agreement, what whoever comes back, looking at what we want in our power purchase agreement, comes back and can tell us what they're gonna produce for us.
You know what the problem is though with
And by
solar?
the way, we work with town council on this stuff.
Yeah, I was just thinking, is there a need?
Yes, there's a need.
There, oh,
There is definitely a need.
Okay.
The prob-
Anywhere we can save money. The thing is, we don't pay
Right.
for the people to implement the system.
Right.
We don't pay for them to maintain it. They get monies off of whatever savings there are.
The issue with putting solar on a school though is that you're not really utilizing the peak season, which is summer. When you have more hours of sunlight, the need for air conditioning.
Right, but the
And
thing
you-
is, do you just live with the electric bill? I don't think so, because the electric bills just keep going up. And if you can get something that is set as a rate that you're gonna have through a company, that's never gonna come down. It's not gonna come down so dramatically that it's gonna be a savings for us. If you just went with the electric, they just left it the way it is, without any solar solution. And also, one of the things that was brought up by somebody who came in to see me was that we could put the solar on the ground. Okay, well, the distance it has to travel in terms of whatever was never going to work. It's just never going to work. And so, no, it needs to go on the roof. And the roof was designed for it. In fact, we actually have a white roof, which helps with it as well. So, and like I said, we've got a good warranty with Garland, and they have had their feet held to the fire on it. So they documented everything, including a letter that said how they were going to handle making sure that not only that we had the service we needed, but that they gave names of multiple companies, resources that are guaranteed by them to work with. So if we have any leaks, anything like that, we can call them. And I told them that whatever company it was, I wanted them up on the roof before we had any problems, so they understood the roof before they came out for the first issue.
How's the heating and cooling going over at the school?
Sorry?
The heating cooling situation at the school. You need to replace the furnace anytime soon? Or,
We need to do it here too.
pardon me?
We need to do it here too. Our HVAC system. Here, this building is what, 18 years old?
You might before you
But
dive into.
the school is the one who looks at that. They have a building committee. Jim Rupert is their chair. And they've got, Cindy is on that committee. The people that are involved,
Because they might want to look at geothermal before a retrofit before they dive into replacing the furnace.
you can mention that to them.
I'll mention
But I would talk with them about that because that's they're supposed to be maintaining the plant. We own it, but they're maintaining it. Any other questions? We could have done this during my Wednesday 4 to 6 thing.
I think everybody
guys-
works during that time.
Yeah,
Oh, during 4 to 6? I did my best.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions?
thank you for the feedback.
My pleasure. I didn't expect to be doing that, but I have no other way. If I just sat here like a lump, without saying anything or giving you any information, that wouldn't be very helpful either. Okay. And if you don't believe me, I'm sorry, but I'm a pretty straightforward person. And otherwise you wouldn't have heard the things you just heard. Okay, so I did write down things you express concerns about. That bill that was signed by the governor, I will make sure that the information from CCM and cost are put out there for you. So you can see, they summarized, okay, what was going on with it and what was changed in it. You know, I'm not the governor. You know, I'm not the expert on this. Okay. I'm not saying he is either.
You
okay.
understand the overall theme, though.
Sorry?
You understand my overall theme.
Yes,
I'm
I do.
scared.
I do
scared.
understand, and we
I'm
don't
scared
want,
about costs. I'm scared about losing control of our town to the state.
understood.
But bottom
Understood.
line is family costs. You know, my taxes have doubled since the time we've owned our property, and my house is a disaster. I'm scared to renovate.
Our house has almost doubled in value. Okay. No, it
And
has
ours-
doubled in value.
And ours still has a crumbling foundation.
Oh, and by the
I
way,
just do.
you have to
Mine
remember
doesn't still.
something too. You have to remember, we're recovering from crumbling foundations affecting our grant list. The crumbling, we have, what, like 17 homes in town, if not more?
Oh, there's a,
And that affected the total for our grant list because it
Mhm.
brought down those property values.
Mhm.
So now people have been getting their houses fixed. Is yours fixed?
no,
You will be
No.
still gonna hate it.
we've waited 3 years already.
Have you?
Mhm.
So those property values are coming back up. But it's sad because I was talking to somebody just the other day and, you know, they ended up basically losing $100,000 on their house because not everything is covered.
Mhm.
For what it's worth, it is good that the company or the group that oversees the funding for that and everything is actually located here in Ashford. So,
The house across from me was done.
really?
Yeah.
All right. Well, it is bringing up the grand list, which helps. And, you know, I'm sorry, taxes are inevitable. It's just making sure where we can that they're not so exorbitant you can't live here. Yes.
Just one more, it just dawned on me, next to the wooden spoon, that gas station.
People did come for one of my nights about that.
Oh, okay, it's dormant.
Um,
What happened? I mean,
you can ask planning and zoning because
Okay.
I suspect they're
Alright.
in a process with them.
Oh, okay.
I suspect.
I mean, they were full bore and all of a sudden, hey, it's gonna, and then I'm like, okay. All right, thank you.
That's all I know about that.
All right,
We have, also any ideas you have to encourage business to come to this town? And I look at it and it's like good business.
Fatal Rock.
We submitted for a bar grant for Cattle Rock for $200,000. We did it jointly with Willington because they own 2 of the 12 properties. We own the other 10. We are awaiting the results of that request. If we get that, there's a whole planning situation that would come out of that. We have with the selectmen in Willington, actually the previous selectmen, because now we have 2 new ones over there, and 2 new people on our board. We're bringing them up to date on what's transpired. If there's anybody who is has all of the archaeological information going back to that time, is Chris. So we actually have formed a committee in the hopes of getting this grant. I called it a committee, but it's really like a task force, and it's made up of experts, someone who knows how to realty, someone who knows soil engineering, those kinds of things, to look at what our options could be with the Cadle Rock Wagon Shed properties. But we need to hopefully get that grant. And then the public will also be invited in to give their ideas and feedback. But that particular group, no selectmen are on it. These are all people who are basically experts in their field of study that are appropriate to look at the property, to look at potential uses for the property, and to look at how to market the property depending on what the town would like to do with it.
Many years ago, I heard a golf course and you got me for 100%.
I would have been there too.
Oh,
You know,
absolutely.
if they got riding trails for horses, I'd be there. If they
Yeah.
got snowshoe trails, we've had someone come in and did a presentation for, let's see,
Mountain bikes.
National Mountain Biking Crew. We got 2 people in town who are members of it. And my husband and I went out, because he's planning and zoning, we went out to see their annual event that they held in the Pomfret area, because there's something set up out there. And with this mountain biking crew or group, what they do, it was so cool. They had, going through the woods, super quiet. Nobody has a motor on their bike. And they had jumps, they got this, they got that. And people just quietly going through the woods, having a great time. And they're a national group. And they offered to build the trails.
Is there
Build and
revenue?
maintain them.
How do we
Is there revenue
monetize
on
that?
that?
Yeah, where's the revenue?
Well, that's just it. So with that property, we need to look at it. The town needs to look at it and go, we need to bring in revenue. Okay, we know we need to bring in revenue. You need to look at what those properties actually look like, because it looks like a lot of wetlands out there. So you can't build where there's wetlands. And also, there's been some cleanup. There's a plan for doing final cleanup. But we don't have the money. We need to do what we need to do.
How many acres are we talking over there?
300 and something. How many acres is that? Cadle Rock,
364
364.
total.
Perfect.
That's, I would have said the same thing. But you know what? There was a golf course down the road a piece that went under, right?
That was in Mansfield, that little 9-hole
Man,
course.
oh, was it 9-hole?
Yeah,
Oh.
that's all it was on that side street, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that
You went
was-
18, right? So that's what we've been doing, and I will say, we worked with B&L company before, when we got our last grant to go in and do assessment on where things were polluted. Deep had been in there and done some cleaning. There are deep liens on the property. What, 4 million?
That's the EPA lane.
EPA lien of $4 million,
We only have a deep 200.
200 and something thousand. But the bottom line is, if someone were to go and buy a parcel or you can't even separate it out right now, because we have worked with Willington on the whole kit and caboodle. So it's looked at that way. But if you went in and you started to try and carve things out, whoever went to purchase it, let's just say they want to develop something there, they got to pay a huge lien. So we have our attorneys are working with EPA and have been for years, has a good relationship with them, and looking at, where we can get some leniency or whatever. And we're buying with other towns. I go to NECOG meetings once a month. I think there's 14 of towns in NECOG. They all have compromised properties, and they're all vying for this bar grant. So we're keeping our fingers crossed, and a lot of work went into putting it together. So other people, I actually put the information out in the Citizen, but I think a lot of people aren't really looking at it or maybe don't understand it. You can just call and I can explain it to you as best I can. And if I screw up and I tell you the wrong thing, I'll probably call you back and say, whoops, I got that one wrong. Okay. And I have no reason to distort any of this. And I will say one more time, you can not believe me or whatever, but I know what's true. And I will tell you that the assessments that were done had no relation to anything going on for an election. Completely separate. It's a completely separate process. The election is its own process with its own timing. Doing the assessments is its own thing with its own timing. I can tell you our assessor was working 6 days a week with help, working on that. Okay, that's all I know because she asked if it was okay if she came in on weekends. Okay. But I don't go down and go, how's it looking at all? I didn't even think to ask my husband until I saw other people complaining. That's just not my job to follow that. What is my job and the job of the selectmen is to take all the information we can from the departments that are within the general government that we oversee and go have them submit their budgets. We go through their budgets, and the rest of you don't know, but the selectmen went through the current year's budget 4 times every line. Challenging this, challenging that. We had our treasurer and finance director in here pulling up the accounts to be very clear about where monies were spent. Okay, and we did it so bare bones that we're now already struggling with, oops, we got to upgrade this. The HVAC system, the ability to control it, we need an upgrade. That's going to cost us $5,100, I think it is. And it's going to cost us another $1,000 each year, $1,500. We're looking at that going, oh my God, how are we going to pay for that? Because we didn't plan on an upgrade of the system, because who knew that it was going to be so lousy trying to get the temperatures right in these rooms, that it's failing.
Well, if there's a silver lining, the next assessment won't be done during a municipal election.
It'll be done every 5 years.
So
And I think she did it a year early. I can't remember how it was
Oh,
done.
wait, it will be done during a municipal election. Yeah, every 2 years, you're right. Oh, no, 5 years. So it wouldn't.
I don't know. Right now, I'm not going to think about that.
We did get a new company in town, Horton and.
I know,
Paquette,
I
'cause
spoke with them.
I utilized them, and when I did call them, all I saw was Horton, not Paquette underneath it first, and I'm talking to who I dealt with, because I have a home generator. And yeah, Rob, we're in your town. I'm like, oh, and then finally it dawned on me, what drew them from Pomfret? That's a new business that came in, and they've been here less than a year.
This is true. This is true.
So,
I came in for a transfer station sticker, and that's how it ended up talking with them. And
Did you say they work with Paquette or the?
we've worked with Paquette, the townhouse.
Yeah, you got the.
Paquette Electric,
Yeah,
yeah, they were in Pomfret, Hayville.
one of their
Okay.
vice presidents lives over there next to the old mainline stove shop. Yeah, their company actually did the machine shop.
If I can, I'd like to move us on in the
Sure.
agenda.
Thank you.
Again, I appreciate your questions. Thank you for sharing your concerns, and thank you for sharing your ideas, because I need the ideas. We need the ideas. So I'm going to move on if you're all okay. Good. Chris, thank you for your patience. Okay, first selectmen's briefing. Give me a second. Let's see. Plans were finalized for improvements to be made in either December or January to our conference room downstairs and the conference room here. It was part of our capital improvement plan for this fiscal year to be able to make those improvements down there. There's going to be 2 different screens, different kinds of things, so that the quality of the meetings where they be able to hear, if you're logged on online, so you can hear and see better, if you're sitting in the room, so you can hear and see better as well. So again, that was all approved as part of the budget for this current fiscal year, and it's in the capital improvement plan. It's $15,000. What we're going to do is we're going to repurpose some of what we've got down there in the Selectmen's conference room over there so that we won't have this little huddle here in this room. I haven't taken us all down there because it's such a big room and usually there's only 3 of us, 4 of us. Okay. Open positions. We have one for maintainer mechanic. We had our maintainer 1 mechanic retired, and we've had some candidates, and there will be some discussions about that. The our new tax collector is starting tomorrow. His name is, oh, you probably saw this. A lot of this is in the Citizen, Daniel Beltran. And he's fully certified. He's very experienced. He was Linda's choice. Linda is the one, you know, we had a committee of 3, the assessor, the tax collector, and the treasurer finance director. Were the interview committee, and then the selectmen interviewed the candidates that they approved. And we have gone through this for months and months.
Where
So-
did he work before?
Killingly?
Oh.
The, let's see, emergency management director, you already know, Kristen Wynot. And again, as I said, we're going to have Michael Gardner and Tom, who I rely heavily on. And they want to do this. They want to help Kristen be successful. It's a critical role. We need someone who can do good coordination, good communication, and can actually update the documents that we all need to have updated. I didn't know until a few weeks ago that as part of our emergency management plan, there's something down in the town clerk's office, a whole manual that was done years ago that will have to be updated as well. So it's got tentacles that go out there. And so to me, it's kind of exciting because there's an opportunity to get things up to date. And let's see, and the budget planning, we've already issued letters and budget information to each of the departments that have to provide information to the selectmen. And they have to have their information in by December 19th.
Oh, wow.
So there's a, yes. And then it'll get compiled. I will take a look at it with Sherry Susie. Last year, we did a lot of the, can we cut here, can we cut there, here? And so our recommendations for what was taken to the Board of Selectmen, which they agreed with. But after they were taken through relying, it was very tiring. So you can look forward to that. Woohoo! And also the Capital Improvement Committee, I'm getting confirmation as to who's going to be on the committee this year. The first selectman is always the chair of that committee, and so I want to get a meeting scheduled, hopefully in December. But I just need confirmation from the Board of Finance, from the school, from Public Works. I already know Casey's going to be part of it. We have a person at large that is part of it. It was Chuck Funk before, who is very knowledgeable. And we have one other person. Someone, again, Board of Finance. Last year, Christina participated. And it was a nice way to kind of make sure she understood everything that was in it. So when it went to the Board of Finance, she could also speak to it. And the fire chief, or someone from the fire department. So that's what's happening right now. I've already talked to you about the solar project. Don't have anything else for a selectmen's update. The next thing is acceptance of the minutes of October 31st.
We already did it. We
I
did it
thought
at the
we
last
did.
meeting, so we just have November
Okay.
17th.
So this is interesting because normally you have to have a first and a second for this. So luckily, Tess attended the last meeting. So Tess, when you look at the minutes, I looked at them before they ever went out. They are correct from my perspective. And you were here for the whole meeting. So I'm gonna make a motion to accept them. Normally, I don't make the motion. I never make the motion. But I was the one who was here, and I need a second in order to approve them. And only the two of us could vote on it.
Right, and I can't, even though I wasn't a
You were
selectman in the
here,
last
you were
meeting.
physically here, but you were not a selectman, but you were physically here. Even if one of you or both of you had watched the minutes, the thing online, you could speak to it because now you're selectman and you were present one way or another. I checked. That's a town council. So do you see anything that looks untoward?
I didn't really go through it very well. Can we table it till next month? Or do we, is there anything in here that's?
Will that affect the appointments we did, the reappointments? That doesn't slow them, right? Okay, we can do that. I would suggest that both of you actually watch the video. So our next meeting, we can get this approved, because I don't want to get too far behind on the approvals. Thank you. Here from boards, commissions, committees. Keith, you poor thing. Can you give us a relatively short
Yeah,
update on the transfer station?
okay. Just for people assuming that a lot of people might not have any background.
Make sure you speak up.
The members of the committee are Matt Carosi. He is what I would call a foreman or superintendent of the Wellington transfer station.
Yes.
He does live in town. Casey McHugh, who is in charge of the Department of Public Works, Christine, and myself. And we've been meeting since June. The big issue with the Ashford transfer station is bulky waste. That is what is really driving the issues there, expense-wise. The containers fill up quickly. They have to be moved out and others brought in. The other items such as metal, wood, recyclables, mattresses, gas and oil and antifreeze, tires, refrigerators, and household items, household trash and cardboard are really not issues at this point in time. And that's coming both from, Casey's observation and the people there. We did make some improvements. For example, tires now are covered. That's a requirement for environmental. Otherwise, they fill with water. You can also, stuff can grow in there, mosquitoes, whatever. The electronics are already undercover. They're moving away from getting the refrigerators to the other side near where the electronics are. We want to clean out that area there with the idea of putting cardboard there, but we may be actually going back to what I guess you would call single stream, because the revenue that we receive for processing clean cardboard is not paying off. It's cost more to run the compactor for the clean cardboard than what we get back. So we would decommission the compactor for cardboard and realize an expense savings, in electricity. That's being worked on. The other thing would be getting a permanent pad for the gas or the oil and antifreeze. It has to have a containment so that if there's a leak in the tank, that is large enough to contain the leak, and also has to have the method to drain it properly so as not to, affect the environment. Mattresses are okay where they are, and again, there'd be no change in the, let's say, the brush or leaves, that type of thing. Other considerations at a later date would be something with the put and take swap shed and the book shed, either updating them or combining them or some way But also we're doing more to keep that area clean because a lot of people at times they're emptying out their house. So if somebody passes and I hear the conversations there, so they bring everything down there, that a lot of it, just piles up. So that gets moved out more quickly, but they try to be conscious of what might be useful that somebody could actually do something with, repurpose. But with bulky waste being the main issue, what we are looking to do, and we're building to a point where we're going to be making a presentation to the Board of Selectmen. We're looking at having a limit of 3 cubic yards per week per, I don't want to say just household, but per entity that, that is residing in Ashford. So this would also apply to homeowners and commercial. 3 cubic yards, basically, if you take the bulldozer that got down there, the bucket, one bucket, heaping bucket is a cubic yard. This is what has been explained to me. So you would also have punch cards. A punch card would be for each of the 52 weeks of the year. So you would come in, you see the attendant, they would check your load, punch it, and then you would go forward to drop it off. So now the question is, how do you demonstrate to people who don't know what a cubic yard would look like, myself included? So that there would be something there, either I'm pushing for something visual, but it could also be misleading because if you have, let's say, use the example, I got some large pieces of furniture in my pickup truck that looks tall, but there's a lot of empty space in between. So that may not even constitute a cubic yard. So the idea being to be fair to everybody, it's not just how tall your heap is in the back of your pickup. And of course, a lot of people don't have a pickup. So it's going to be, and this is where it could be, it's going to take a lot of talking to and working with people that come there to explain to them. We're not looking at the person that opens up their trunk of their car, compact car, and has a bag of bulky waste. They still could get punched because you got to do that for everybody, but it's not where our focus is. It's really on those people that, and we've talked about it here, they come in with this massive loads and sometimes 2-3 trips in and out. We've seen them. So that would be what we're looking at. And of course, it's not just the open loads, but some people drive large vans that don't say, Acme Construction on them. They're just, they slide them open. The next thing you know, you've got, a lot of stuff going into the bulky waste, and then they make another trip as well. So these are the things that we've got to look for. It would be training the staff in, the whole idea of what the 3 cubic yards would be. It's come up too that sometimes it's a little, is it 3 cubic yards or a little more? One of the solutions there that they use in Wellington is you get 2 punches. So you get this week's and next week's punch. So you can't come next week, but you can come back the following week. Because it's again for citizens. So we don't want to be, let's say, I don't want to say maybe unkind to the taxpayers, but still regulated. Now, Wellington, Matt Carosi says that this works well in Wellington. It does take time because you have to keep educating people on that. It's not something that you flip the switch and everybody, understands immediately. But you have to, people, I guess, I don't want to say indoctrinated, but they have to come to understand what the new system is. The other thing, of course, is monitoring. You need somebody who is available up top to spot it. Somebody can come through, let's say the blue box down below, and you know, have the sticker. But then again, that's not enough. You have to have somebody up top. So this is where we are. What we would do is when we get to the point of we feel that the committee agrees on this is what we want to present, what we would do is something like this. This is the original from 2004. It's a preliminary, it's a report to the Board of Selectmen. So if the Board of Selectmen approves the plan, then the next step would be to send it to the town attorney. Because anything dealing with the ordinance, which is, this is the current waste management ordinance for the town, it gets into the legalese.
And a town meeting,
And
public hearing, then a town meeting for the town to decide.
Right. So as once the attorney blesses it, because if you read some of the definitions, just like, you know, we'd probably at this point be using something the town of Willington has regarding their waste management. This is courtesy of Matt Carosi. But this is the sort of thing, it has to be something that is, however the attorneys look at it, or a town attorney looks at it and says, this will pass muster, because there could be some challenges to it, especially for those people whose living has been, you know, moving a large amounts of material and dropping it off at our transfer station. And some of it is not just house cleaning, but we have people in town that have been approached to say, you know, you're producing a lot of certain type of byproduct from your process, and it's killing our dumpster. You know, it's
So how many times can you clean out your place? How many times
yes,
can you dismantle your deck?
yeah.
You know,
So
those kinds of things.
But we also, you
Is
know,
it their stuff or is it their deck or is it somewhere else coming and they're claiming it as theirs?
And I can tell you that Matt did share that he at one point, no, maybe it was Casey, he followed somebody to find out where they were going.
so the other thing too is it has come up about the permit, having a permit. Now that would be something that I believe that you know, the selectmen would have to coordinate with the building department to have the permits somehow passed to us, to the transfer station. And then we would have to, you know, and again.
And they do that in Wellington.
In Wellington.
They put them right up. Matt's got them stapled up or whatever.
Right.
And unfortunately, their transfer station is designed differently than ours. He can see everywhere. Ours, we got a top and a bottom.
Well, and this again goes to what we're trying to do is get as much of it up top, or to where we could see it like with tires and, you know, the recyclable, like the air conditioners, things like that. So they can look out the window and they can see below, but not have a lot of stuff. But again, you still need people up top because the way that the traffic pattern is, you could come in and be dumping your bulky waste unless you got somebody looking out. And of course, that's even more difficult as we're heading into winter. You know, you can't really have somebody out there in the freezing. You know, you got to have, you know, this is part of what we're looking at is how we best monitor. And as to people not being in the booth, I see it too. But if somebody calls out or is, you know, on lunch break or something like that, the person in the booth fills in up on top.
Exactly. That's actually one of the things that's happened is someone will call out sick.
Yes.
Okay. And, you know, and some people do that more often than others.
So that counts for some of the time that box isn't occupied. And I see it too when I go in. And, you know, also, and again, I was checking for the stickers. And then the other thing we've talked about too is that unfortunately some of our citizens, they feel if they can push back and yell, scream and holler that they're gonna get their way.
And they've been doing that.
Yes. And that's a problem. You know, because some of our guys too, have, you know, pointed out that, you know, they're not, they don't get paid enough to get in a fist fight. And some people, and I've seen it myself, or some people can get really nasty.
Well, and you observed the same one I had to deal with.
Right, but that was
Yeah.
but that was a little bit somebody trying to say, hey,
Enforce.
you enforce it, but then you get the people that are saying, I just came here and I'm gonna dump my trailer load of stuff and stop me if you want.
And by the way, you know, where brush is put, the burn pile, where you can't put anything
Oh,
bigger
yeah.
than that in diameter.
3
The
inches.
state inspects every burn. We cannot burn unless the state inspects it. So this is what happens. The guys who work there have to pull the crap out of there that is put in there by people who just went, okay, I don't care that it's this big. They've got to pull it out.
Questions.
Yes.
The guideline that our town follows, is that state mandated for how to do,
Well,
put the oil bin here, put this, I mean, that's for our safety. Is it state mandated? Or is
well,
it what we created?
no, it's not so much the location,
Right,
but right now we're in violation of the environmental regulations that were updated. For the containment, it has
Okay.
to be on something that,
right.
you know, the containment, it can't be permeable.
Okay,
and
understand.
that type of thing.
Yeah.
Same way with the tires.
Right.
You know, we had about the open, but
Sure.
again, the environmental codes have been changed, that they have to be undercover. It could be like a lean-to, just something that keeps the water out.
Or an old tractor trailer box and roll them
Well,
in,
yeah,
and I don't
right.
know how you do that, but that
Well,
would be a.
yeah, that's what we're doing now with paint. And we've got the
Right.
paint up there,
Right.
so, or the mattresses,
Right.
you know,
Okay.
that type of thing. But we want to get as much of that up top as possible.
And second question, is our transfer station monitored via camera?
We're not going to talk about that. If I put cameras up, or if and where, we probably would not advertise that any more than we would do that for our parks.
Right.
And to
So
that
that would-
point too,
Okay.
that we had that railing, the guy backed into the railing and.
Yeah.
And was just so relieved they didn't damage.
We had
the
somebody
car.
back into one of our people. Backed into Hadley.
It wasn't me. Just
No, it was a
saying.
guy. So,
But anyway, so, yeah, I mean, cameras would be, you know, if you had somebody, because offenders, I mean, I think a lot of people, once they know what the deal is, I think most of the people would be agreeable and do the right thing, but you always got those people that aren't, and that's where the cameras would be, but then again,
it's
it
too
comes
late.
back to the funding.
And also, it's too late at that point. So what's interesting, okay, is someone a couple of years ago said, Catherine's down there taking pictures of people and she's going to take away their transfer station rights. And I'm thinking, no. And what we haven't done is we haven't taken away anybody's rights that I'm aware of. And in case of where we did have an altercation, that was one of the warnings that was given to the person, was that you might not get to go there anymore. But think about doing that with somebody who's really belligerent in town, who's not being respectful to the people who even work there. And you have to deal with that, and that's kind of a dicey situation. Even with the put and take, one of the things I've told the guys who work there is if you see someone come in with, I've taken complaints on this already, someone come in with a load of really garbage and putting it down there, throwing it down or whatever, don't hesitate. Go right down, take it, get rid of it. I don't care if they're still standing there unloading their stuff. If the reality we had someone have mouse feces or rat feces and paper towels and whatever and all this stuff, and I got a complaint from 3 different people, 2 of them friends of that person, plus that person, repeated calls. And the reality was what that person was putting in the put and take or dumping at the put and take was not something we want there. It was actually a health hazard. So, so they've been told, just so you know, is if someone comes in and they're dumping garbage, basically garbage there, or things that really can't be salvaged, people really need to look at, can you fix a broken bottle? Kind of thing. Then I have no problem with them getting rid of it immediately. I don't care if the person's still standing there. And I said, just call me, have them call me. Okay, but I want them to be able to enforce those rules. And like you said, we have people who are pushing back on these, in some cases, young guys. Okay, and it's like, what are they going to do? So,
but those are some of the things that we're looking at. We are not looking at charging.
No.
That's,
no, your taxes are paying for this. We're just looking at how to make it more efficient and less costly. That's it. And in fact, I believe that also even the layout of how things are going, you're looking at having a really nice natural progression up top. Instead of, people going over here for cardboard and doing this and whatever. So, again, trying to save as much money as we can and make it as efficient as possible. Thank you. Nice job.
questions?
Did you ever consider reversing the traffic flow?
Yes,
Would that help?
We did do that.
we did. We did, and we were looking at it, and part of the problem would be is just the room to maneuver when you go back. If you're looking at checking for bulky waste, that's further down the line. And if you've got people going down that line, but maybe they only got household trash or wood or something in between, it was felt by the people that work there that would get really jammed up because people would be trying to maneuver around or back up or something of that sort. That was one of the things we were.
Okay, one more
Yeah,
question?
just real quick, Keith. Has anybody put out the idea of maybe having a certain day, maybe on a weekend, for bulky waste only? Just throwing it out there that here come the contractors, here comes whoever, a certain time period, say. I mean, you're open, what, 8 hours on the weekends, correct? 12, whatever.
They're
it is.
8 hours each time they're open.
Right. So make us, I don't know, a suggestion, maybe a certain time, hey, we're accepting bulky waste at this time for a contractor that might be working in town, or you let them know, hey, be here if you can at this time, no aggravation, dump and
Well, the
go.
thing is, it wouldn't necessarily always be contractors.
Well, yeah,
Okay,
but the
so
whole,
interesting idea. I suspect that what could happen is you could have a hue and a cry from people who are residents. They're going, wait a minute here. I keep cleaning up my farm and I'm bringing stuff in from there. And now you're telling me I can only do that on a day, which, by the way, I'm working on. Yeah, so I'm not shooting the idea down. I'm just saying, here's another part of it that we would have to
well,
look at.
there's more to it, but
Yeah.
if people know that, hey, on a certain time or
Yeah.
now I can gather all my stuff and come and do it.
Well, that's something you can look at
You know,
for the transfer station committee. Okay, are we
thank you.
good with that? Thank you for the report. That was pretty thorough. Okay, Ashford School roof replacement project status. We are just finalizing the final payments between that have been challenged at different points between the warring parties. And so we anticipate we'll have that done by the end of next week. Okay, and then it'll be done. Like I said, we have the warranty, the roof is finished. And okay, solar project status, I already mentioned to you. Discussed an act on driveway permit procedures, fees, and bonding. That's gotten a bit more complex than we thought it would be. I'm just gonna hold something up. So Casey had looked at what we had as a sketch or whatever for driveway permits, okay? And he wanted some things added to it. The reality is what we looked at was not only, what is here and what he wanted added, but we also looked at this. This is Town of Ashford Public Improvement Specifications. It's from April 2006. And it doesn't match this. So what we're going to do is we're going to have our, in all likelihood, we just talked about it today. We haven't talked with Casey about it yet, but have nor land use. But we're looking at having NECOG's engineer look at these and help us get them up to date. Okay, we need to have things match. You can't have conflicts between what we've got. This is almost 20 years old. And things change over time. Yes.
Catherine, you say driveway permits, is that like for like a new development, or is that for an existing driveway that you maybe have paved or something?
I think it's to get a permit so that you can put in your driveway and it will meet standards, a new driveway. So whether it's, I know there's a person on one of the roads that put in a driveway like this. He never came for a permit or to even talk with them about what was needed. He also put up this beautiful white fencing that far from the edge of the road, which is not 15 feet or whatever it is from the middle of the road. So I stopped and I said, hey, you might want to check with our land use department. I'm concerned about snow or whatever coming off the road and taking out your fence. Okay. And he was not very polite. So I just went, okay. So,
Good question.
and the driveways have to be something that doesn't cause a problem in the road.
Correct. Who inspects those driveway permits? Is that Public Works?
In the
or is
past,
that-
it's been Public Works.
Yep.
Okay. They didn't really have what we could tell was a formal process for this.
Right.
So that's what we're looking at is how do we formalize this? So people are getting the information that they need so they can adhere to it.
Right.
Would that be
Yes.
building inspector?
When I had,
Building
Did someone
inspector?
come and, did you anybody here put one in and somebody come and inspect it?
well, I might be, but, well, I have a driveway now, but, right now it's all been chewed up by construction equipment, so I want to blacktop it or something at some point. In one of our meetings, Casey has said that he likes to be notified because of the apron.
Yes,
Yes.
exactly. And that's,
And I didn't know that you had to go to land use and get a permit for.
so this says Town of Ashford, typical asphalt / concrete driveway apron. And it says what you have to have.
Okay.
And he wanted additional information put on here. And then our land use clerk did some checking. She went to look at ordinances to see if things would jive, because I was concerned we'd have to have a change in the ordinance, which is a town meeting. And then she pulled this, which I've never seen before, and that was today. So Chris and I talked about it as something that we probably need to get updated, like a number of things that we have here. But we kind of, a little chicken and the egg. At least if we could have NECOG look at this, as Sil, our engineer over there, look at this, we could proceed with this. I think that there's also an ordinance about, was there an ordinance about driveways? No, we're good there. And then it would be, in all likelihood, it would be Casey doing the inspection, but it would have to adhere to what this is. So now that I've actually said that out loud, the best plan is to have NECOG with this first, and then this is a project.
Can I see that? Do you have a blank one?
Oh, what?
A blank copy of that?
Of this thing?
Yes.
Okay, we'll make a copy.
Thank you.
If I could just, Catherine, just add something.
And it's not the Bible yet, okay?
Yep, that's okay.
For those who might want to attend the transfer station committee meeting, I'm going to be reaching out to the members and looking at either the 7th or 14th of January. I'd like to check with them to see their availability before I send out an agenda and have to cancel the meeting because we don't have a quorum.
I'm sure we all have to check our social calendars.
I call it my dance card.
Well, it's happened before, other things where you don't have that quorum, you end up finding out the last minute, you gotta cancel the meeting.
Yes.
So that's why I at least try to make sure people will be there. So it's either gonna be the 7th or 14th, but agenda will go out ahead of time. It'll be, and the town clerk's office will publish it.
It's a Wednesday.
It's a Wednesday.
Okay, if I could, I'm gonna move on to the next item. Preliminary discussion regarding Ashford Academy repairs. I'd like us to waive that for this meeting because I haven't had been able to have a conversation with our Historical Society chair, president, about what's needed down there. Thank you for coming. I really appreciate it.
Okay. All right, guys. We'll see you.
Okay, the next thing is discuss and act on ASCO donation agreement. And this is for the selectmen.
Yeah.
So I'll give you a little background on this. This,
Realize how late I was getting. Thank you.
thank you. I hope you got what you wanted to get out of the meeting.
Yeah.
Good. At least a start. You have copies of the agreement there. There's two parts to it. One is ASCO, over the years, for a number of years, ASCO had stocked furniture and different things, utensils, dishes, et cetera, in our senior center. And ASCO is the Ashford Senior Center organization. It's not really the senior center. In fact, their name is going to be changing probably in January to Ashford, bear with me, I gotta look at it. Ashford Senior Citizens Organization, which is really more fitting for that. But many years ago, when the senior center was first built, ASCO, for the first 2 years, if I understand correctly, manned it. We had, no,
It wasn't ASCO yet, it was,
whatever, senior center group.
it was
Or
the
senior group.
ABCD board and the senior center group.
Yeah. And I don't know if they morphed into ASCO or whatever, but ultimately, ASCO has been very involved with the senior center for better part of at least 20, 25 years. So, there was a kind of a, and I know that Tess can attest to this, there was an acrimonious relationship between ASCO, senior center director, town, whatever. And part of what was going on too was that the ASCO was saying, hey, all that stuff belongs to us and to them. But it was in our the town senior center, it was insured, et cetera, et cetera. So back and forth, back and forth. The bottom line is that the relationship is vastly improved. We have an excellent senior center director. We have a senior consortium group that works together. Tess, when she subbed at our senior center, was actually, she understands what was going on at the time and was involved with that as well. And what ASCO has now done, and they did it a while ago, they came forth with an agreement saying, we want to donate all these things that we've said we owned, okay, that they do feel they own, and I believe them. They're the ones who brought them in. We want to donate these outright to the town. It's the dishes, it's the silverware, it's the tables, the chairs, it's a whole bunch of items. And on this donation agreement, I'm going to read you so that the rest of you understand what's in here. It says, whereas ASCO owns certain items set forth in an appendix, there's a whole list, and wishes to donate them to the town for the use and enjoyment of the center and its visitors to the benefit of all individuals, and whereas the town wishes to commend ASCO for its generosity and willingness to help the town's citizens by its donation of the designated items, whereas in consideration of this donation, the town agrees to allow ASCO to store their fundraising items at the center as set forth in one of the appendixes here. They have been storing their stuff there all these years. They've got a whole bingo set up, complete with, a podium thing or whatever, a stand. and the electronic equipment and everything. They have bingo that they, open bingo that they have, professional, progressive bingo. That's what I think what they call it, that they have every Wednesday night. And we also have, the senior center has some bingo during the day. They don't use all that equipment, but they use some of it. They also have, they own the freezer that's there. They own the 7 by 5 foot, you've been through it, 7 by 5 foot cabinet with doors. They own also the shed that's adjacent to the center. And they have a wooden bookcases in the craft room, and they own they got cornhole boards, they got folding card tables, coffee maker, copier that's in there, a big copier. And so anyway, they have a large list of items that they're donating to the town. The ones I just mentioned are ones that they are willing to share with the town because they need to put their stuff someplace. So, so you have in front of you the list of the items that they wish to donate outright, with the expectation, of course, the town's going to take good care of them. It's rolling cart, it's a microwave, it's a toaster, it's dishes, it's bulletin board, the big bulletin board, round table, lamp, shade, Earl Smith portrait, Earl Smith plaque, the big tree quilt, which is amazing, plaques. They have paper shredder, dehumidifier, wall clock, regular chairs, 5 chairs with arms, folding chairs, box fan, card tables, all kinds of things. And they counted everything out, and they have this list. And they're saying, we would like to donate it outright to the town.
So some of those things, what I heard you say is not on that first list, but they are on the second list.
Right, the second list is what I was referring to, that in fact, those are things they also own, but they're willing to share. Okay, so we have a donation agreement, which has a long list of the items I just mentioned, and a sharing agreement. So the second part of this is the sharing agreement. They agree to share, let's see, it says, yada, 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 yada. The town has agreed that fundraising items owned by ASCO, here's a typo, items owned by TASCO may be stored at the senior center, and ASCO has agreed that specific items may be shared by the center and its visitors for the benefit of all individuals. Now, they're not going to share the bingo stuff because that's stuff that could break and they need it. But they are agreeing to share a 7 by 5 foot freestanding wooden storage unit located in the main hall. The center may use the right hand side of the storage thing, which they've already done. The wooden bookcase located in the craft room, top 3 shelves for the craft person's storage. Shed located adjacent to the center that they have never shared. And they're saying that the center may use 1/2 of the space as outlined by paint on the shed's floor. I sat with the president of ASCO and we worked out how that would work. A portion of the large freezer located in the center's furnace room. We've been using it. They owned it, but we've been using it. And that portion of the space utilized by either party at any given time will be determined by joint negotiations between ASCO and the center as their scheduled event needs change over time. And, they keep things in there. We keep things in there. One of the things we did do last year, went through that. They threw out all kinds of food and whatever and organized things in a way that also met health codes. Okay, everybody got educated in health codes last year. So I looked at this, and the way it was originally written up, one of the selectmen said he wanted it looked at by town council. So we did that, and that's where all these whereases came from. Okay, We did a little bit of tweaking just to make sure, because there's one thing that the attorney didn't understand, fix that. It's been reviewed by the president of ASCO, who finds it to be fine. They are ready to sign it, and they're asking for the signatures of the 3 selectmen to approve this. You know, I will tell you that my recommendation is that we do it. I think that we've crossed a wonderful bridge with the group, and I'm delighted that they are willing to have come this far in terms of recognizing that those are things that they want the town to be able to use without having to be asked. So,
I do have some concerns before we either make a motion. I don't see Monica's or the director's signature on here.
no, because she's not a selectman. Oh, selectman.
Correct.
This is, we don't do agreements with the senior center director when we do it with other organizations.
Right. Has
We
she
do it with the
approved-
selectmen.
Has she seen this? Has she seen this agreement?
No, but she knows about it. She's known about it for months.
Right, but she hasn't literally seen all of this yet.
I don't have a,
So this is.
I don't have a concern.
I do, only because I did have a vested interest in that, or I was there for a certain amount of time.
Yes, before we got everything totally cleaned up.
Good. I'm glad it got cleaned up. This is my concern. I'm thankful that ASCO wants to be generous and willing to
A partner.
donate all of these things. There is, where it says whereas, agrees to allow ASCO to store their fundraising items at the center, which is all of these things.
Yeah.
Catherine, there's a lot of stuff that's in that building that belongs to ASCO, which, correct me, I'm glad that they have a good working relationship, but I just feel like we're almost kicking the can in way of, this is an outside organization that is, correct me if I'm wrong, a 501c3, and I'm seeking to understand, because I knew what it was like when I was there, and perhaps it's different, but there's all of this equipment that they're willing to share. 3 oil heaters, a toolbox with tools.
No, I
This
think
is,
you're misreading this.
I must be, because it says Appendix B, the town agrees to allow ASCO to store their fundraising items at the center.
The
All
same
of
ones they have there now.
So my question is, these are not all fundraising items.
They need, let's look at this. Appendix B, bingo machine, bingo platform, bingo board,
Did they get
bingo
rid of
papers, 2 TVs on walls with hangers, 2 extension
A
cords
craft
connected to the
table,
TVs.
14 plaques of remembrance, 21 anniversary plaque from the state of Connecticut? Those are not all fundraising items. My question is, there's two legal size filing cabinets, but there were 4 filing cabinets in that one craft room.
They're not using 4 cabinets.
How many are they using at this point? How many filing cabinets are in that building?
So I think the perspective you have is very different from the one that I have, and I have worked with them much longer than you
Well,
have.
it doesn't matter.
So
how
bear
long
with
you've
me,
worked,
bear
there's a
with
lot of
me.
Stuff there.
They have been the ones who have provided so much support to the senior center. Okay? All of those items that they're willing to donate, they brought in. Okay? They have, again, we had town council look at this.
Yeah.
And he had no issue with any of the things that they had here, recognizing that in fact, they do operate out of there. They don't have anywhere else to operate out of. They don't.
Okay.
So if they
Neither
have
does
extension
Commission on Aging.
cords and the things that are on these lists, they've got
It
plaques
is-
of remembrance, which are actually quite enhancing to the place. They have the large quilt with the names of the members sewn on it. which is part of the decoration for the place.
Can I just say this? I would love to see, and if Monica has seen this, also in the shed, a grill should not be in the shed. And this was,
Why shouldn't a grill be in the shed?
is the propane tank still attached?
I don't think so.
Okay. It
But the
used to
grill
be.
is in there because
Right.
usually the propane tank is taken someplace else.
Okay.
It's usually somebody else has brought it in for the event.
Yeah, no, that's not how it was when we were there.
You were there last June, was the last,
Yes.
at the end?
Yes, June,
So
beginning
we are
of
now a
July.
year and almost a half away from that.
So are they going to donate without, if they were donating, is this a string attached? Can they donate all of their stuff and they agree to sign, or is it a mixed agreement? Do you know what I mean? Can they donate all their stuff and just be done, or are they donating all the stuff if they allow to keep all their stuff there?
They never put it like that because they're not behaving like that.
No, I know.
Because
but
they're
this is
actually,
what this says.
I just let you know, they're behaving like partners. They are now, before ASCO didn't even want to come into the senior center, and I think you remember those times. And they would not attend any senior center events,
Just
senior
their
center
own.
sponsored events.
Right.
Now they're in there all the time, working together. You know what the senior consortium is.
Yep.
You know how they are working together. They're putting together programs together.
Yep.
Everybody is focused on how to enhance our seniors' experiences. Okay. And in addition, ASCO also donates to other things in our town. They donated to someone who was burned out of their home recently. They just donated to the base camp.
I'm glad that they do all that, Catherine. That's nothing I'm gonna argue with.
So what are you
because I know
what
that-
are you saying we should have? Because this is going to be an issue for them after all that they've done and how long that they've waited to have this. And I was sent to the town council by Bill Folletti,
Okay, so.
and I got his write-up, okay, for this. So he didn't have an issue with it. So what I need to know
Did
is
he
what kind
sign-
of documents you really want to see.
Did he sign this? If
The
he-
attorney doesn't sign it.
No, excuse me. Did Bill Folletti sign this when you guys?
No,
last
he
did
said,
this?
he had me go off to the attorney to get all the whereases added. Okay, the original document looked quite different than this. The lists were the same. The sharing concept was the same, and the ownership thing was the same. It was the wording that was in there.
So.
And Bill is not a selectman. We're the selectmen. So if in fact you don't like this agreement, you need to be very specific about what you want to see changed.
Okay, I'll start right here. On page 1 of 2, sharing agreement, even this last one, there's a copier. The machine is only to be used in the craft room. Cost for copying documents is 10 cents side of page.
Per side of page.
Why are we not equipping our director that's over there with a copy machine?
I'm sorry, but she has a color printer that does whatever she needs. This is for anybody else
Is
that
this a
comes
new
in.
printer that has been over there since I've
No,
since
she
June?
there was a new printer put in. She has a color printer that
Mhm.
also receives faxes,
Okay,
okay? No different basically than this one.
okay, because it wasn't like that when I was there.
Right, but you
last
were
time.
there a year and a half ago.
A year, yep, a year and a half ago. You're correct.
Okay, so whatever she has works just fine for her. This is for anybody else who comes in, a senior or whatever, and wants to use the printer that is owned and maintained by ASCO.
Okay,
And they didn't want it moved from that craft room because there's no place to move it to. But they do want to make sure it somehow doesn't end up out in the main hall. You know, and if it gets moved, it would be something where they would have to be involved. Because they do own it and maintain it.
does ASCO with all of this stuff in the building?
And by the way, ASCO's newsletter now contains the stuff that the senior center is doing. putting out.
Good.
Okay, so, and when I talk about the partnership, it is that kind of partnership.
So my next question is, with all of this stuff in the building and with them on a Wednesday night for regular bingo, what are they contributing back to the senior center? Are they contributing back to the senior center directly in way of, I know some places you have to rent out the space.
We are not charging
No,
rent.
asking to
Bear with me.
rent.
I'm just telling you,
Okay.
we are not charging rent to the same group who just put up new drapes, put up in the kitchen, the bathrooms, whatever, put down new rugs, things like that. We're not charging people who are actually working with us. Okay? No, any more than we charge for ads in our Ashford Citizen for local groups that are, contribute to the town. So as someone who sits in on and participates in their monthly, the senior consortium meetings, which for the rest of you, it's the senior center director who's also an agent for the elderly. It is the town library director. It is the recreation director. It is the head of ASCO.
Is that Noah?
It
The
is,
recreation director?
I'm sorry?
You said recreation director?
That's exactly what I said.
Yeah, and who is that?
Noah King.
Noah. That's what I'm just asking.
The director of the housing authority, Kathy, who works over there as well and provides services to the seniors. Who else? And me. And we meet every month and we talk about what the different programs are that are going to be offered, where we can work together, where we can dovetail efforts to improve things for the seniors, to have special programs, all of that, who's doing what. And before, there were a lot of arguments about, oh, people thought they were using the senior center. Oh, they thought they were doing the same thing over at the library, those kinds of things. So those have been worked out and they work as a remarkable team and they've been doing it for, let's see, it started about 2 years ago. And it took a few months to get everything together, but it is a terrific group that's self-managed and is looking out for our seniors and anybody else who comes in there. So, and the only reason I know about a lot of the ASCO donations is because I'm actually where that's happening. These are different events in town. So, again, if you have specific things that you would like changed in these documents, you need to let me know, and I will let ASCO know, but I will tell you that, they looked at it. It was done through the ASCO, the membership, where they worked through all of these things that were going to be donated and shared. They did it over a series of months, and some of the attitudes that were there from before have changed.
Good.
And from my perspective, it's been a great partnership. And I want to see that continue because it's for the benefit of everybody.
Okay.
So again, if there's specific things that you want changed in here, why don't you write them up? I will let them know that apparently we don't have a motion to approve this. Do you want a motion to approve it? Make a motion?
So moved.
Which we should have done before we had a discussion. Okay. Anybody second that motion? I'll second it. Okay. We just had discussion.
Yeah, and I would like to see if Monica has seen this paperwork. That's all.
Monica's not the one who's making the commitment.
But Monica is the director there and Monica oversees that building.
Only the building.
Correct.
Okay, and the programs that are going on that she manages. Okay, so we also can vote.
Yep, you sure can.
Okay, we have a motion, we have a second. All in favor? Aye. Aye. Motion approved. What I will do is I will entertain you coming back with specifics that you feel should have been in here. I will share those
Well,
with
we
ASCO.
just got these tonight.
I will share those with ASCO and I'll share them with the town council
Great.
to see if there's anything that somehow is untoward in this document. But this has been going on for 8 months.
Catherine, I'm glad that this has been going on for that long, but this is the first time that we have seen this. So thank you for that.
All right, so motion approved. The next item is the new business, approve the 2026 Board of Selectmen meeting calendar. Okay, we don't have a calendar in front of us. We're going to approve it actually when all is said and done. We're going to approve it at our next meeting. It has to be done before the end of the year. What I would like to ask you two members is,
Actually, they have the calendar with the original time. So they have,
oh, you have the original? Oh, yeah.
you
So
have it.
you did lay out the calendar and this, okay, thank you. So my question of you is, do you want to meet at 7 or do you want to meet at 6? For regular meetings?
7.
Okay, that works better with your schedule?
No, I just would prefer it. Yeah.
Okay. Al?
How long do these meetings usually run?
They don't usually run this long. Budget meetings, sometimes we have our budget meetings during the day because they do run long. Tonight was an absolute exception. You know, like I said, I would have preferred that the folks came to the other meeting on Wednesdays. But, you know, we covered a lot of ground. So typically I would say these meetings run between an hour and an hour and a half, correct? I'll try to make them as crisp as I can. So if it's 7, it runs to about 8:30. So you don't need to make the decision tonight. I would like you to think about it. Because we're not approving the calendar tonight, it's for your review.
I already reviewed it because it was in the packet. This donation agreement was not
What
in
you're
the
probably
packet.
gonna wanna do is review it in light of the calendar for the Board of Finance meetings. Okay? Because of when we have to present. And work with that.
And do you have the Board of Finance meetings yet? Is that it?
They already drafted theirs as part of their minutes.
Okay.
Okay, so this one was just to review it. And I see you already have some where you're thinking we're gonna have some changes.
There's a typo.
Typo?
I'll do a new one.
All right. Discuss and act on approval of proposed stewardship agreement negotiated for the member towns by Mid-Nerock for the collection and disposal of 20 pound propane tanks in accordance with PA 22-27 and PA 24-133. So you have information in here about gas cylinder program. Can I have someone make a motion so we can discuss this?
Can I get a little background?
I'm waiting for them to make a motion.
Make a motion.
All right. So we can discuss it. The motion is to approve it. That's how we would normally do it, to approve it. Someone makes a second, we have a discussion, then we have a vote.
Discussion. Right.
Okay, that's how it works. And Chris will, once we're able to have our discussion, Chris will enlighten us about what this program is. Okay, that's just proper procedure.
Yeah, I get it. I think.
All
we
right,
know
so do we
that.
have a second?
I seconded it.
Okay, Tess seconds it. All right, Chris, tell us all about it.
This is gonna work like the mattress program and the paint program. Costs us nothing. We collect propane tanks. The company we contract with that has been Mid-Nerock has put this down to all the Mid-Nerock towns.
Do you know what Mid-Nerock is?
I'm catching that, yes.
Mid-Northeast Recycling.
Keep going.
operating committee. That. So basically, it's really a no-brainer. We collect them, they pick them up, we don't have to pay for disposal. They provide us with storage container.
Isn't Mid-Nerock, how we handle our hazardous waste? Basically,
In Wellington, yes. the
it's
household
it's physically
waste
located in
facility is
Wellington, but it's
handled
made up of a few towns.
As Mid-Nerock contracts for our haulers.
Okay. Okay, so in terms of this is just about how those tanks are gonna be managed. The agreement with them, correct? Sorry. Any more questions? Information needed.
Yeah, when does this process start?
I think once they get all the towns' agreements, it's changed. Originally, it was Mid-Nerock to agree, then the company came back and said, Mid-Nerock can't do the agreements because Mid-Nerock doesn't own the facility, so it has to be a separate town.
Mhm.
I believe it's imminent. When I talked to Chuck Atkins, who is vice chairman of Mid-Nerock, and our representative, he was very positive about the program.
Mhm.
So it'll neaten things up for us in some sense.
Great, and when does it start?
I'm
We
not
know
sure.
that it's imminent, but okay.
Basically, they need the signatures of all the five, is it 5 towns? No, 13. 13, oh, I'm sorry, 13 towns. Are we ready to vote on this?
Sure.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion unanimous, motion passes. Thank you very much, Chris. Okay, board and commission appointments, economic development. We don't have anybody for that, right? Conservation Commission, reappoint the following commissioners to regular member seats as recommended by the commission to terms expiring November 2027. And this isn't left over from before, this is new, right?
Right.
Joseph Hendrick, Gwen Holland, Christina Sabo, Janet Bellamy, Pamela Summers, and William Dubinsky.
The Conservation Commission serves same term as the Board of Selectmen. They're advisory only.
Can I have a motion for this? To approve?
And these, we discuss after, or can we
Sure.
ask questions now?
Okay, so Tess is making the motion, if I understand correctly. Al, you want to second it? Thank you. All right, what's the discussion?
My question is, this is 2 years and
Just as she said with the Board of Selectmen.
no, I was thinking, all of these people said that they want to be on, or are they
Yes.
just going on automatically? Okay,
They all told the commission that they want to continue to serve.
excellent.
We never
Yeah, we haven't.
automatically appoint.
Yeah.
Ever.
Thank you.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Al? Aye. Motion approved unanimously. Thank you. Reappoint the following commissioners to alternate member seats as recommended by the commission to terms expiring November 2027. Stephanie Dubinsky and Angela Burns. These are alternate members.
And it doesn't matter that there's no like conflict of interest because some of them have the same last name. Am I correct? No.
Do I have a motion? Al makes a motion.
I'll second.
Thank you, Tess. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Motion passes unanimously. I'm just delighted that these people have stepped up to volunteer to do this. I also would like to make mention of the fact that our Conservation Commission, that, I'll blank it out on her name,
Loretta.
Loretta Roble has been the chair of the Conservation Commission since its inception, which is over 20 years. She has stepped down, and we will miss her, but she did an outstanding job as the chair of this commission, and it's done some valuable work in our town. So, with my thanks, and hopefully the rest of the selectmen as well. Agriculture Commission. I think we have a person for an alternate member of vacancy who has expressed an interest. And I forgot her name.
Danielle Lewis.
Her name is Danielle Larice, and she said, I've been farming in Ashford almost 10 years. I've attended a few of the Ag Commission meetings over the years as a member of the public, but I'd like to take a more active role now. So we have another volunteer stepping up to be an alternate on that board. Can I have a motion for that? Thank you, Al. And which one is this? The alternate member vacancy that is expiring in 2027 or 2028? 2027. We didn't get anything that said that which she preferred, right?
No.
Okay. Okay, so we've got a motion and a second and a vote. All in favor?
I just want to make sure I'm voting on the right, on which one that she's.
It's filling one of those two alternate member
alternates.
vacancies expiring March 15, 2027.
Thank you for that clarity.
And that's Danielle Reese. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye. Unanimous. Thank you very much. Zoning Board of Appeals, do we have anybody? No. Planning and Zoning Commission, fill alternate vacancy to expire November 18th, 2025. Do we have someone who expressed an interest very recently
Wait, Colette.
Clean energy.
to come
task
onto
force.
that Planning and Zoning Commission, the alternate vacancy?
That's up to them.
They filled the alternate vacancy?
They have to give us a recommendation.
Very good. So we don't have a recommendation from them, so that's not gonna happen. I know someone has indicated an interest. I heard
What's
that
the
through grapevine.
process? What's the process to be recommended?
What happens is, first of all, the person writes something expressing their interest, and then somebody from the commission often, or somebody, maybe somebody else, will say, I recommend that person. I think they're gonna be a valuable asset to that commission.
That's that simple.
It's always best when it's from somebody who's already on the commission. And I can tell you're following along just fine.
I'm following the agenda to,
But in terms of the protocols,
Yeah.
thank you.
Thank
The, okay, Clean Energy Task Force.
You were waiting for an email from him.
We're waiting for an email from him?
That's what you would.
Okay, so I don't think I've gotten one.
No.
Okay, this one was, the Clean Energy Task Force has recommended the appointment of Kurt Love. But we don't have an email from him saying what his interest is. So we'll hold off on that until we receive something to that effect.
Oh, I get it. So this email was sent from someone else,
Oh, wait,
not,
yeah, it was sent from someone on that board.
Susan Eastwood sent it.
Oh, no, we definitely need something from the
From
person who
him
wants to be
himself.
on the board.
got it.
Okay, now we're way down to approval of tax
Woo-hoo.
refunds. Chris, do we have any tax refunds?
Yes.
All right, so this is a process I don't believe you've been through before. And that is where it is our tax collector comes back and lets us know if we've overpaid or someone's overpaid or whatever, or they've gotten a change in assessment or something that has made it so that they're entitled to a refund. So these are kind of pro forma. We get the information and then we approve it. There's typically no reason that we would have any say in not approving somebody's specific refund. That wouldn't even make sense. Okay, so what do we have? They have it in their packet?
No, I just got them.
Oh, can you read them off for us?
I have four separate small tax refunds, all for Jared Ray Appel, citing Connecticut General Statute 12-129, which is overpayment, totaling $72.12.
Okay. And do we have any others?
Yep.
We do. 3 others.
No, all his four.
Oh, all
Total
are under him? The total is
$72.12.
$79.12?
7212.
Was it 72 or 79.12?
$72.12.
Very good. Thanks.
And the other one is Christopher Ferguson in the amount of $73.04, citing Connecticut General Statute 12-129.
129.
29. Sorry.
What did we have for the other one? It was 12-49? Or did I get it wrong?
12-129 is the statute.
120. Thank you. Did you hear that?
Yeah.
Very good. Can I have a motion to approve those?
I'll make a motion to
Thank you,
approve
Paul.
this. You're welcome.
And Al? Motion, just a second.
Does he need to say that? I'm sorry.
What?
Does he need to say? Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry?
I thought we had to speak that out. Like I know in the Board of Ed, we have to speak it out. Yeah.
No, I'm looking at people sitting in the same room.
Got it.
Okay, possible executive session to discuss possible litigation and personnel. We will be going into executive session. We have something we do need to discuss. And thank you for coming to the meeting. Come to all of them if you want, okay? Ultimately, we'll be downstairs. It'll be more comfortable. Thank you. And yes, thank you for picking that out too. And we're going to close the door. We'll go into executive session. And Chris, you want to stay in executive session with us, or you want to?
I don't care as long as you're quick.
Hopefully it'll be quick. Thank you.
Let's go.
Okay, so I need a motion to go into executive session. And
If you're on, yeah.
I'm ready.
Are you on record?
I couldn't hear you.
Are you on record?
Oh, thank you. I don't know who Mimi is, but Mimi, we're going to sign off now. And we're going to go into executive session, and the rest of the meeting will be recorded in the minutes. Actually, meeting.
That's fine.
Okay, we've come out of executive session at 10, 10:17, 16, sorry. Oops. Did it lose it? No, it wouldn't stay with us. All right, so we don't have that. Post attendee. What it does, it'll time out.
So you have to add to the agenda.
Okay, I need a motion to add the hiring of maintainer 1 / mechanic for our public works department.
Do we have to say his name?
No. Just that. Did you catch that?
So somebody has to move.
I'll make
To
a
add it to the
motion.
agenda.
I'll make a,
Right,
Oh.
move to add to the agenda, the hiring of maintenance mechanic. Public Works.
so moved.
Thank you. Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Okay, and now we need a motion for hiring. So let me see if I can phrase that. It would be to offer the position of hang on a second. Maintainer 1 / mechanic to Ernest A. Gobin. And effective December 2nd. Just so you know, I've never done anything this fast.
What's our contracts or anything like that?
I'll be writing the letter that goes to him. Excuse me.
All right,
What's our contract?
in something with the union contract.
In agreement, yeah, in compliance.
In compliance.
Very
thank you.
good, very good. With the new contract. And we have complied, we did the 5-day thing, offering to the other guys, and then we can offer to others. Okay, so I need, you make the motion, was it?
I so moved.
Sorry, second. It was Tess and Al. Any more discussion? Trying to think. No. All in favor? Aye. Thank you very much. I think this is going to be a great benefit, not only to have someone who clearly is qualified, but also to change some of the climate down in that organization.
Oh, I think,
You should have seen Jordan beaming. What else do we have on the agenda? Let's make sure we cover the
Nothing.
last thing.
upcoming Board of Selectmen meetings.
Do you want these back?
Yes, please.
It says agenda items for upcoming Board of Selectmen meetings, so that one would be.
If you guys ever
this-
have anything you want to add to the agenda.
We
Right,
do it.
we're-
We do it.
Okay,
We don't have to go through everything here, but
perfect.
we already know that we're gonna do the meetings. I do need a motion to adjourn.
I make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
I was halfway down the hall.
All in favor?
I,
Motion, meeting adjourned at
whoever says.
10:20.
10:20.